Let's get it. First thing I'm gonna do is roll up this weed before I even get started on Call of Duty. No, I gotta roll up a blunt before I even get started. You know that. Let me roll up a blunt first. Yo. Trying to roll up a blunt first before I get started. I get locked and loaded. Yo. Roll this weed up, it's going down.
This beat for murder. Chopper talk, get you right, walk the walk, catching routes, Randy Moss, rap it, send it, drop it off. You riding my
Another
dick,
day,
hop
bro.
off.
Let's get it,
Know me
bro.
well, I don't know. Say that you cool, I don't know. You say that you cool, we'll cool you off. You think that we hot as
Be on this bitch a couple hours. I'll wait till it get lit a little bit. Roll me up a blunt. Where's my lighter? I gotta roll me up a blunt. I'm gonna play GTA too. Should have dropped this chat in the Discord in the chat. Man, yo. About to start this shit off. Trying to roll this fucking blunt up. Oh, I can't pin this one. as soon as I roll this shit up, hold on, my camera off. Hold on, let me get my camera right. Hold on. Soon as I threw the hell, nigga, I'm kicking her ass. Uh-oh. Never had no lighter. Every time it's time to smoke, they don't never have a goddamn lighter. Fuck! Hey! I'm ready to put this shit on the road. Jack. That's all I need up there. I think so. I'm gonna play GTA after this. I know, tell me what I might do. Alright, we live at 5, let's do it. Let's get straight into it, man. Straight action, straight bang bang.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, you heard him, nigga.
Check it. Yeah.
I'll turn It's live. Woo, woo.
There. You heard mama? Which clip? Which one here?
Team deathmatch. Eyes up.
Okay.
System's hot. We're not here for a tour. Stay tight. We're in the lead. Point turret active. The game reclaimed the lead.
Nigga still hit my ass.
Got the lead.
Oh my god.
UAV above. Get a counter UAV in the air.
These niggas high now.
Bringing Sanford online.
Ooh, right.
Anderson authorizing skewer.
This nigga, yeah.
Friendly skewer on mission.
Ooh.
Fight for me.
Oh my god, how did I miss this nigga?
Threat eliminated.
Come on, man.
Deploy
Hostile
UAV
sighted.
in my AO. TACOM.
Ain't no
Get
way.
me a UAV.
Damn, that nigga shot me from behind, bro. Oh my god, dude, I'm a package.
TACOM. Authorizing care package drop.
Stackham, I need eyes overhead.
Enemy moving. Hellstorm strike available.
Anderson designating Hellstorm target.
Deploying. Three down. Returning to base.
I wanna go see you, boy.
Using psych. Inbound grenade. Shooter spotted.
Damn, man, these niggas hit me, dog.
Establish UAV above.
Kill.
Shoot him. How you miss this nigga?
Authorizing UAV mission.
Come on,
Site
man.
split. We're in the lead. Maintain current posture.
Psych grenade out.
Okay,
On the
fuck
ass.
yes. AO secured. Resupply teams inbound.
Always a good time on the ground.
is going down. We're going down. I don't know what I'm getting into later on tonight, man.
Hard point. Success guarantees continued access to premium benefits. Hostile personnel have captured the hard point.
Side grenade sent.
We control the hard point. Contesting hard point. Hostiles have the hard point. Hard point contested. Contesting hard point. Hard point locked down.
Target deleted.
We've claimed the lead.
Oh.
Hard point contested. Hard point identified. Contesting hard point. Hostile RCXD incoming. Hard point is active. Hostile personnel have captured the hard point. Hard point contested. We control the hard point. Contesting hard point.
Hostile shooter.
Hard point contested. Hostiles have the hard point. Hostile skewer inbound.
Ordering fuel loads on my
They're
mark.
crossing sight.
Contesting hard point.
Air package ready for delivery.
Focus. Hostile scout pulse nearby. Hard point locked down.
Skewer released as task.
Hard point contested. Contesting hard point. Hard point located. Hard point contested.
Wake up, Master.
Hard point active. Hostile personnel have captured the hard point. Contesting hard point.
How the fuck, bro?
Tossing cluster.
Hard point contested.
Triggering exit. Incoming frag. Sniper fire. Scanner.
We got this shit on lock. We got this shit on lock.
Contesting hard point. Enemy dog established on your grid. Hostiles have the hard point. Hard point contested. Hard point identified.
Drop camp picking up the beacon.
Hard point is active. We control the hard point.
We got
Authorizing
this
fuel
shit on
flight.
lock.
RCX ready.
Yeah, that nigga that walked up on me like that. I don't like that.
RCXD maneuver.
Contesting hard point.
Yo, what's up, my boy? I told you I was gonna be back on,
Hostile
man.
personnel have captured the hard point.
Yo, give me a second. I'm gonna
Hard point
if you
contested.
follow me in the Discord, then you can just already be on here listening and talking to me. You can talk to me while I'm playing the game. If you follow me on the Discord, you can just
Hard point locked down.
join my
Contesting
server,
hardpoint.
and then we can just talk right here through the game channel. Yeah.
Enemy RCXD detected.
Oh,
Hardpoint
God.
contested. Hardpoint active.
I dropped the Discord in the link.
Hostiles have the
You
hardpoint.
just add it right there. You can just start talking.
Contesting hardpoint.
Oh, these niggas killing me right now. I can't concentrate, bro. I'm trying to talk and watch the game. Shut up,
Hardpoint
Marco.
contested.
Shit, we chilling tonight, man. You know we gonna be on for about 3 hours. 2-3 hours tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's that Black Ops 7, bro.
Contesting hardpoint.
I'm gonna get on that,
Hardpoint
oh,
contested.
God, these niggas.
Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint.
I couldn't get away from that nigga, dog.
Hardpoint locked down. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hardpoint contested. We control the hardpoint. Hardpoint is active. Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Contesting hardpoint.
Ready to launch.
For a hostile drone pod. Grim approving skewer
See, I just capped them more.
Deploying skewer on your target. Aircraft is on standby.
Hardpoint contested.
Come on, bro. You seen that fuck shit there, bro? It's all good. Come on. Where you going?
hostile cluster grenade. EMP inbound.
Contesting hardpoint.
I couldn't even see that nigga shoot. I'm gonna play Call of
Ordering
Duty for
skill
like
launch on my mark.
an hour, maybe like 35, 40 minutes.
Grim requesting
Hardpoint
I might play Call of Duty for an
Hardpoint
hour.
located. Contesting hardpoint.
Yeah, for an hour. I'm gonna get on YouTube. See what they got going on.
Hardpoint
Gotta get
active.
Discord set up.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
I don't think so. I'll just click the link you in there.
going live.
We control the
Click that link
hardpoint.
you should be in there.
Hardpoint contested. Contesting hardpoint. Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Hardpoint contested. Skewer release detected.
Damn, this nigga shot my ass, bro.
Contesting hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down.
Tossing cluster.
Hardpoint
Wait.
contested. Hardpoint identified. Contesting hardpoint.
Man, this new Black Ops, bro. This shit is straight, bro.
Hardpoint is active.
Killing the fuck out your ass.
Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Authorizing skewer flight.
Hardpoint contested.
Come on, man.
Moving with active camera.
Remember me? Because I sure
Contesting hardpoint.
Sights
Hardpoint contested. Contesting hardpoint. Control the hardpoint. Hardpoint located.
Care package ready for delivery. Skewer released as tasked.
Hardpoint active.
Cooking with me, man.
Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Hardpoint contested.
sight grenade set.
Hostile RCXD incoming. Contesting hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down.
Eyes on hostile long gun. Hostile EMP.
Hardpoint contested. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hardpoint identified. We control the hardpoint.
Damn, this fucking guy.
Hardpoint is active. Hardpoint locked down.
Ah, I had to reload my gun. It fucked me up.
Contesting hardpoint. Hostile personnel have captured the
Drop
hardpoint.
care package on my beacon.
Hardpoint contested. Contesting hardpoint.
Ordering skewer launch on my mark.
Skewer available for assignment.
Hardpoint located. Hardpoint contested. Contesting hardpoint.
That nigga did one on me then.
Grim
Deploying
approving
skewer on your target.
Hardpoint active. Hostile skewer inbound. Hostile counter UAV above. Hardpoint contested.
God, I should have shot him in the foot.
Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hostile dog active. Contesting hardpoint. Control the hardpoint. Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down. They're falling apart. Go for the
Enemy Grim
jugular.
Reaper. Grim Reaper degraded.
Skewer ready to launch.
Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hardpoint contested.
Skewer released as task.
We control the hardpoint.
That's the out.
Hardpoint identified.
Damn,
Hardpoint is
got my
active.
ass.
Enemy CUAV established overhead. Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Enemy scout pulse active. Contesting hardpoint. Hardpoint locked down. Hostiles have the hardpoint.
Nigga's cooking my ass.
Skewer release detected. Hardpoint located.
Take that one. I'm on your side.
We win.
Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint active. Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. Control the hardpoint. Contesting hardpoint. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Hostile counter UAV above.
Oh my god. I like the spawn for
Hardpoint locked down. Enemy dog established under grid. Enemy RCXD detected. Hardpoint contested. Contesting hardpoint.
Tactics on standby.
Control the hardpoint.
Grim requesting care package deployed.
Hardpoint contested.
Grim approving skewer
Deploying
target.
skewer on your target.
Hostile personnel have captured the hardpoint. All personnel withdraw. Trauma teams are inbound.
Yo, man, I don't know why.
This is why I have trust issues.
Incoming frag! Incoming cluster! EMP inbound!
And I packed the next one too. Why didn't you show that? Y'all look white, boy. Everybody want to get Cali, but me gotta provide.
I think I'm about to get on GTA. I don't know. Let me see real quick. Trying to fix my loadout. Oh my god. I think I'm about to get off of here. Time to get on GTA. I'm gonna get off this video. End this one, man. 30 minutes tonight for the stream. Call of Duty. What I said I was gonna do, GTA. And something else. I'll do an hour. Fuck it. 30 minutes. Alright, we'll do an hour. We'll do it. I'll do an hour, man. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Let's get this shit started. We still on YouTube?
Maybach music.
Sweet. Alright, let's get this shit started. Let's get it rocking and motherfucking rolling. Alright. Hold on, stream. Hold on. What the fuck am I trying to do? Oh, I'm so hot, bro. It ain't my type of height. Let's see what's going on in the world today.
Shrapnel Gang, there is more.
Alright, we talk about Epstein today. Let me update my YouTube real quick. So, you know, before we start this shit up, before we crank this thing up, you know what I'm saying? Before we start this thing off, let me listen to some music before I can figure out what the fuck I want to do. Peace, long way. I'm thinking of that one song with the Migos. Alright, fellas, I got it. Now I can update my shit. That was P long way. I think it's Dirty Birds. Dirty Sticks. I don't know why that song in my head for some reason.
We all sick, man. With them dirty birds. Fuck up, my name Jamal. Take off in this bit, man. Them dirty birds. Suck, baby. My name Jamal. Suck, pull up, hop out. Corey big hand shit, man. Big hand swag, nigga. Big hand jewelry, nigga. Hey, hold on, DJ Victoria. Man, that shit the fuck back, man. You can't do that shit like that, man. Me go. Streets on lock. We all set, nigga.
Now she dirty, bitch.
Oh my God, young nigga, I love that dirty stick. Dirty sticks, 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 dirty sticks. Young rich nigga, keep a dirty ass stick. Finesse you out your pants with your beat, that's a dirty bitch. Young rich nigga, keep a dirty ass stick. Finesse you out your pants with your beat, that's a dirty bitch.
She's dirty.
Looking up the pile with that dirty ass stick. Bow, 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 cloud with the dirty stick. What's that in your cup, man? That dirty shit. All my goon go crazy, they be on that dirty shit. Run the city in a dirty ass bitch.
Just cut my skills off. I had some dirty ass friends, 32. And they fight. Feel like Michael Jackson. Trying me with the fuck shit.
Them ain't animals attack him. Uncle Sal had to tax him. Warren Sal, quarterback sack him. Good gas, good cookie. Sent the Green Bay, I pack him. Young nigga hit you with that dirty stick. Why me scrape the pot skirt with that dirty stick? She a bad bitch, finesse you, now she dirty, bitch. Oh my God, young nigga, I love that dirty stick. Dirty sticks, 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 dirty sticks. I'm mobbing, I'm working the block.
With them dirty sticks. I had to update my title on YouTube.
Working on 36. Like Grady and Freddie G. Self, and I'm fucking no dirty bitch. I lick on the molly and hit that bitch with that majesty. Long way hell for the nigga, they call the boy you majesty. Them dirty sticks, young niggas gon' blast them bitch. You cuffin' your bitch, start cuffin' your bitch, we switchin' root, smash that shit. You talkin' about rats, they stuffed in my LC, I'm bad. This to that dirty stick, don't fuck with no rat, no snitch. Get found in the dig, get hot with that dirty stick. We call for them birds, young nigga with dirty sticks.
Alright, I'm not ready.
Up in the bird shit. Got hit with them dirty sticks. Never finesse by a bitch. Slam dunkin' don't lay up and shit. that dirty stick. Watch me scrape the pot skirt with that dirty stick. She a bad bitch, finesse you, now she dirty, bitch. Oh my God, young nigga, I love that dirty stick. Dirty sticks, 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 dirty sticks. I be playing with them dirty birds like my name Jamal. Pull up, hop out, I violated tag, yeah, come on. And the bitch that is my middle link. No internet, but I'm connected to that white girl, keep it battling. White, take off the vegetarian.
I gotta have that facility.
I'm taking no trips to Beverly. I'm strapped with dirty artillery.
The Benno is got it special.
Lil' mama, she thinking she feeling
Oh, she ain't.
Told me that she wanna roll in that lobby. I gave her a molly. I left the club in a Ferrari. I'm pouring that dirty.
Good morning.
Young nigga hit you with that dirty
Good
stick.
morning.
Watch me scrape the pot skirt with that dirty stick. She a bad bitch, finesse you, now she dirty, bitch.
Oh my God, young nigga.
I love that dirty stick. Dirty sticks, 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 dirty sticks.
All right.
Dirty sticks, dirty sticks.
I'm good to it now.
Dirty sticks, dirty sticks, dirty sticks, dirty sticks, dirty sticks. Go.
Streets on the line. We had to kill these folks, though, man. Cause the right start this grind. We did this shit on our own. No close signs. Real young rich people.
Aight. Streets on lock. Epstein got popped. Let's see what we're working with today. Alright. Hey, what are you talking about?
And more talk about Epstein being alive going around. And now it's being reported that some of the victims are actually saying that they believe, based on the information that they have, that Epstein is actually still alive, hiding out somewhere after faking his death. It is insane, okay? It's been going around a whole bunch of different places. I got some new links and some new evidence to show you in this video, and I got to tell you people, it is a little bit scary. So the first thing I want to show you is from my guy Julian Dory's podcast. Okay, he had an ex-CIA agent on the show, and he basically broke down exactly how he would have faked Jeffrey Epstein's death if he were ordered to do it. Who knows if this is the type of orders that are really coming down out here. But let's listen to what was said, and then I'm going to take you through a whole bunch of evidence and testimony that people think
Yeah, I'm glad I got a blunt right here, because, boy.
If you were tasked, not that you ever would be, it's hypothetical, people, but if you were tasked with making the world believe that Jeffrey Epstein was dead and getting him out of that prison without anyone knowing to wherever he's going to go to get fucking facial surgery and live out his life, how would you do it?
Oh, you would take out the body, whether it's a body double or, you know, made out of silicone or whatever, take it out in full view of everybody. That's how I would do it. Let as many people as possible see this body so that reasonable people can agree to disagree.
They did do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a New York Post reporter very ready to go.
And there was the conversation about the ear, which I've heard 1,000 million times.
Those ones I'm always a little skeptical of because they can doctor the image.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it's like this stupid, obviously AI-generated picture of him just like, what?
Y'all think this nigga still alive? Is this nigga still alive? You think so?
Walking down the street in Tel Aviv.
Oh, yeah, that one's not real. But I'm saying, like, so the recipe you just gave me, though, is in line. It's not to say that's
with
what happened.
They did.
So this CIA agent is basically saying, hey, if I was tasked with, you know, giving Epstein an escape plan, here's how I would have done it. That's how they did it. That's allegedly how they did it. You know, there was this discrepancy with the ear. They said they did a fake version of the body. Then they had a version of the body that people took pictures. It's crazy. Okay. So now, all right, I want to start to speak about one of the survivors that's actually giving their thoughts on the Epstein case, on his alleged disappearance. And basically, there's been some great coverage on this case from Mario Norful, and he recently interviewed outspoken survivor Rena O, and she would basically confirm that some details in the autopsy, in her opinion, didn't match Jeffrey Epstein. And when you think if the autopsy doesn't match, If the details of the autopsy and the body that turned up doesn't match, it's hard for you to really believe that that body belongs to Jeffrey Epstein, and it's hard for you to actually believe that the man is dead. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. So let's hear what she said.
I want to ask one more question. The producer sent me a question. It's a bit more graphic than other questions, but it's relevant to a previous interview I was doing. I've done 2 interviews with a forensic expert, Dr. G. And so obviously you can choose to answer it or not, but the reason I'm asking is in the autopsy, they talk about, the autopsy, they're meant to talk about every single detail in his body, and they describe his penis as a normal circumcised penis. But in the deposition,
out of all the shit they can talk about, they talk about this man's dick. Come on, man.
They read out to him that one of the girls claimed he had a deformed egg-shaped penis. Now, the reason that the forensic expert brought that up in our interview, he said, Mario, that's very bizarre. Some people are talking whether that's actually Epstein's body, whether he's still alive, or that was someone else. There's multiple red flags about how he died, and the decoy body that was moved out, the way he was killed, the picture showed an ear that looked different than Epstein's.
They on his ass.
Unanswered questions. And this was one of them, and I'm not sure if you can answer that or not, but did he have a deformed penis in any way, or was it a normal penis? Sorry for being very descriptive, but just I'm really curious to see if he does have a deformed penis, like they said in the deposition, that means there's a big unanswered question. There's a false piece of information in the autopsy report that came out.
Well, I've seen the tattoo photos from the files. I don't remember Jeffrey having a tattoo, but this is back in the early 2000s. He could have, eventually, had a tattoo artist, give him a tattoo, draw a tattoo, whatever in his body. I don't even know what it's called. I don't have tattoos. And he was very much against tattoos. I told him one day that I wanted to get a tattoo on my back, and he scolded me and said, "You are not allowed. I don't give you permission to put that on your body." Like, he was very, just controlling with what he told the girls they should do to their bodies.
Oh, he had her?
All of those autopsy photographs. I've studied the photographs of the cell. I think there are way too many sheets. I don't think there's any way that someone can hang themselves in that manner, and it would have been a sloppy job.
He had her?
I thought for a while that wasn't him until I studied photographs of his teeth.
Bitch, you know that.
His teeth are very hard to fake, especially molars and cavities and fillings. But now, after what you had just mentioned, I don't believe that would have been him on the autopsy table. I recently gave an interview with Tina Brown, who is a former editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair magazine. She also was the editor-in-chief of Daily Beast. I think she launched Daily Beast, and I believe the Tatler magazine and the New Yorker. So she is a very, I would say, incredible writer. And she's also mentioned in the Epstein files, but in a good way. Like, he hated her because she was probing into him. And she wrote, based off of my conversation with her, she said he had Kallman's syndrome, which means that a man is underdeveloped. Like, from adolescent moving forward, your genitalia does not fully develop. So you have this childhood size genitalia, and I would agree.
Man, she lying like a motherfucker.
Okay, and that's Tina Brown found that out from her research as well, speaking to other.
Well, I don't know if she spoke to the other survivors. I spoke to her because I remember what it looked like. Like I said, I paint portraits of people, and I have pretty good photographic memory of things. I don't remember every single detail, but that's something that I do remember. And he was very small. I don't really want to get too into it.
Of course, no. You've given more than enough.
But
yeah, you've given. Sorry.
Josh was just a creative
guy
with great
topics,
ideas, but then he started creating with artlets all in one.
You ain't talking about too much with Epstein. I'll get back to him.
Speaking of Mayweather, now that we're on the subject of him, see what's going on with him?
What about him? I heard a few things.
He's going through some money issues.
Financial problems?
You
know what's crazy, and I don't know whether it's true, but I was hanging out at Wes Watson's house, right? He's a big fitness influencer.
Yeah, I know
you know who he is, right? So we did a house tour.
Ballhead,
yeah, white dude, big,
prisoner guy.
Prisoner guy, right? Exactly. So when we're getting ready to shoot, he's got these kind of people at his house,
right?
And there's this old school jeweler dude there. They're oh, this is one of the OG jeweler guys. This is who everyone else gets their stuff from. And he told me, and I'm not going to say who it is, he's Mayweather's broke. I said, no. He's no, really, Mayweather's broke. Now, I don't know if it's true.
Right.
This is what this guy told me. I'm how could he be broke? He's yo, he spends like crazy.
Yeah.
Spends like crazy.
You only could go but so long. and you're not fighting.
Yeah.
Because I don't see Mayweather even doing any goofy shit like that.
But You know, but you would think that your investments would continue to grow,
right?
As long as you keep your spending under wraps. Like right now, like I could retire right now. This could be my last interview ever,
right?
And with my investments, you know, I invested into a lot of great companies like Google and Amazon and Tesla over the years, and those companies have all grown and continue to grow, right? And I could actually borrow money against my stock portfolio without even selling my stocks.
Right.
So I assumed that Mayweather was in a similar spot because he made so much cash, and if you invested even in common stocks, you should do pretty well. But I mean, listen, Mayweather never flies commercial. He's only flying private.
So he doesn't own his own plane?
I don't think so. I've never seen a Mayweather plane, like a Drake plane. I've never seen that. Not to say that he doesn't. I don't know Mayweather like that. I've never even met him. So I don't know. I mean, you have a lot of properties. You have a lot of money you're constantly spending.
Right.
I don't know. Remember at one point he said he was buying like the jewelry district building.
Yeah, and they said
that
they
wasn't
said that was
true.
cap. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know this man's finances, but this guy told me that Mayweather is in financial problems.
See, here's the shitty part about
These niggas
actually
cap, bro.
losing your
They
money
don't know what
when
they
you're on
talking
that
about.
level.
They talking about
You're,
Mayweather.
you know, kind of like flossing, showing.
Don't know what they
Nobody
talking
gives
about.
a shit.
Either.
Like people are,
I don't
there are
know.
people actually praying for you to be broke, and then
Yeah, that's crazy. People praying for a nigga to be broke, bro.
when you do go broke, that's what people are gonna say. Oh well, you know, you should have invested better. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna give him any loans. So now, you know, we might see Mayweather doing.
People will give him some loans.
Maybe.
You know, listen, he's cozying up to Israel. That's
But
not
the
an
thing
accident.
about it is, what I mean, he had Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah.
And he was hosting a big, you know, he had Javante Davis under his cars, and so that's a like
Yeah, but
De
look
La
what
Hoya
happened
does.
to Javante.
Right. So if you
Arrested.
can sustain that, you don't ever have to box again. But now has to take fights because you know when you floss like Mayweather, you can't go down.
Yeah.
You got to stay right there because people are gonna beat any kind of chinks in your armor if you're not wearing 3 or 4 big $1 million diamond chains. That sucks.
Look, did you watch the Eddie Murphy documentary?
Loved it.
When he said that he had to pay for Red Fox's funeral because he was broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, that's
Because
crazy.
I watched Sanford and Sons on TV. I know it didn't go that long, but it was in reruns forever.
Yeah.
Right? Was it Harlem Nights?
Oh, nice.
Classic movie. This was a.
They say Mayweather,
you
bro.
can't name me
I should
one
have made the
comedian
title of
today
that.
that doesn't respect and is in awe of
Right.
Red Fox. Red
Yeah.
Fox is a comedic legend, and you can't pay to get yourself buried.
Well, he had a lot of debt with the IRS. They said he was a big spender. And remember, Red Fox didn't start on stage. Red Fox started doing albums because he came up in a time where black people weren't allowed to do comedy clubs. So he had a bunch of albums, and they got
Yeah,
wind
but
of
he had
him.
a sitcom.
Ain't no way Mayweather.
But they
bro.
weren't.
It would be a GoFundMe page.
Yeah. Richard Pryor wasn't broke when he died, though. But I think.
Hold on,
I
let
can
me
turn
see
your
what they
wildest ideas into a song. Just describe it in a few words.
can't be
Choose a
talking about
style,
money
and let
made
Mareka
like
the Fifth Eight handle the rest.
Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco suggested on their podcast that Floyd Mayweather is talking about coming back, unretiring.
He is.
Because he's broke.
Yeah.
Let's play the clip here of Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco.
There are only 3 fights that Floyd can have that can command and get the kind of money he's looking to recoup for money that may have been lost or money that may have been stolen or money he may have spent, you know, to date. For one, a rematch with Canelo. That's one fight.
Canelo too big. He
listen to me, Unc. We talk about making that money. He ain't gonna have no choice. Number 2, fight Pacquiao again. Right? That's it.
Yeah.
And the only other fight that can get him the kind of money and the kind of payday he might need if you're coming out of retirement and putting your record in jeopardy, and that's Bud.
Bud hurt him, Ocho. Bud is still at the top, and Bud is the pound for pound best fighter in the world.
No, they ain't talking about Mayweather
And you
like
talking about
that.
coming after 8-year layoff, you can come and fight him?
Do you understand why he's coming out of retirement? Are we missing the point here?
Mayweather?
We understand why.
Come on, man.
No, Ocho. I hope that's not true. I hope he, Ocho, I hope he has Ocho, I can hope.
Hold on. I know y'all ain't talking about my boy like that. Not money made. Not money made, Mayweather. Not Floyd.
This video of Mayweather is completely insane, and it's not.
Floyd going broke? What? No, they capping. Matter of fact, I just seen the video with my boy on there. I'm gonna click on it. Where he at? No, y'all capping. No, y'all capping. Huh? My boy broke. What? I fuck with Floyd. I don't think he's going broke, man. I don't know about all of that. Floyd got that money, man. His broke and they broke. Two different brokes. Floyd broke is what? Probably $100 million. They say he's broke. You know what I'm saying? I was just at that gym.
Slide and drop. Punch it, point it. Here we go. Drop, drop. Walk it, walk it, walk it. Pitch it. Pitch it. 6. Punch it.
Somebody going broke.
Pitch it.
Watch crazy.
I step back like I have my distance. That's why I step back. See, I have my distance. Fighters don't know their distance. You gotta know your distance.
I just seen 50 Cent do some crazy. He said some shit. What Ross talking about? T.I.
Y'all stream that new T.I., man, that new T.I. shit. Right one, that shit on fire. Tip, we want to see them old schools at the car show. ATL, let Tip know after y'all stream that nigga shit, that shit hot.
Maybach music.
With that. You heard me?
Maybach
What's
music.
up, everybody? This is the world famous Ed Lover, and you are watching Forgotten Kings TV. That's right, Forgotten Kings TV. Good, son.
Listen, y'all. Moments ago, T.I. dropped another 50 Cent diss record. That's 2 diss records in a matter of 24 hours.
crazy.
I mean, listen, for those wondering, how the hell did we get here? Well, listen, a conversation that started.
T.I. gonna drop another one? Alright, let me go on my home page. Let's see what's going on. 2 days ago, Anthony Edwards. Busta Rhymes. Boston Celtics. You wanna see LeBron? See Trump. What Trump talking about? Is he talking right now though? Do I want to see Trump? How long they was clapping for?
Economy was now. People have money to spend, but that's not
across this country, and of course,
he wrote the decision.
Yeah, he ain't doing shit.
My lawyers made a strong case for ourselves, a strong case, and now it's up to the judge. You know, she needed a few more days to make her decision, and you know, we're just hoping for the right decision for.
Oscar De La Hoya got his ass beat up by 4. No, he don't want to say that.
Did you know that the average American will
See what DJ Academic is talking about? He usually got the hot topics and shit.
please make some noise?
They got me feeling like I'm academic.
Dirk cooked. That I keep hearing people ask me, "Yo, you think he's cooked?"
Now, I've long said, like I said, hey, listen, man, it's
said
Dirk
Dirk
cooked.
cooked.
I keep hearing people ask me, yo, you think he's cooked? Now, I've long said, like I said, hey, listen, man,
Dirk cooked.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Dirk thought he was smarter than the average bear, right? You know, without y'all calling me a snitch or something like that, there's many crimes and murders in hip hop, and you guys can name some people who you think that, you know. Of course, we're not gonna sit here and just speculate or try to incriminate people, but there's certain people, you know who behind it, you know who sent the hit, you know who gave the bag, you know who set it in motion. For the majority of those situations, those people remain uncharged. I could name you a shit ton of situations, but again, out of not trying to be seeming like I'm trying to get people indicted, I won't mention names, but you know the death behind so-and-so who really probably sent that hit. And most, if quick names are coming to your mind, without us even have to vet them, or I won't even look in the chat to see what you're saying, you're right. They're behind it. That's 100%. The thing is, a lot of these people, they don't have a pattern of doing this. A lot of these people haven't done a lot of these. A lot of these people have given, honestly, the government, and especially the feds, no real incentive to try to catch them.
Been an hour.
A lot of times people think that crime, you know, a lot of people think they're smarter than the, you know, not only smarter than the lawyers, not only the politics have been warning Dirk.
You have it listened, you type it in, and then you go digging.
Cops to get Dirk. So when you have cops teaming up with other cops, you know, when they say, yo, put him under the fire.
Dirk cooked.
But go back, well, let me just go back and look at Dolph case.
Lil Dirk cooked? Damn.
Lil Durk's brother lost his life at. Okay? Church, the funeral, you catch him anywhere. The porta potty, you catch him picking up his WIC check, you catch him with his at the daycare. It gotta go down in Chirac. Anywhere. On camera, off camera, don't matter. Rest in peace to Stephon Mack. He lost his life on his fateful day.
What happened to YNW Melly, man?
Really? Really?
Damn, that's the first thing I should have did was cover YNW Melly shit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start covering YNW Melly ass. Damn, I should have covered his ass first. Damn, let me edit my chat real quick. Damn. I'm about to cover Melly ass shit. Let me play some of his music right now, cause his ass really get covered, boy. Damn.
If Drew didn't film it, then it ain't filmed right.
We gon' pull up with them sticks and hop out with them choppers. Walking out the 10 in blue Balenciagas. I called her out, now I got blood on blue Balenciagas. Up that 40, let that pistol single melody. Fuck all of that talking, we can go to war. Leave your brain marinating on the boulevard. I got something that'll put you out your misery. 7.62, 5.56 is 223. With that K, broad day, we
hop out of straight. Young nigga, wait till my dying day. Yeah, I'm gonna cover Melly real quick. So what I gotta do is my boy ever getting out? Spin a bin.
We gon' pull up with those sticks and hop out out with them choppers. Walking out the 10 in blue Balenciagas. I caught her out, now I got blood on blue Balenciaga. Or that 40, let that pistol sight. Fuck all of that talking, we can go to war. Brain marinating on the boulevard. I got something that'll put you out your misery. 7.62, 5.5, 223. 223, AR-15, carbon 9. They all on me. Fuck with me, you get murdered. It ain't shit to put a pussy nigga on the shirt. Fuck all that talking, we all about that action. We pull it with pistol, you know that we better. These niggas ain't really on it, they pussy, I swear they got all these niggas just mad. Hold up, action, I wanna fuck her. Pussy runner, we gon' put them on a t-shirt. With it, yeah, with it. Pull up on them with a tech. Run up on me, you get wet. No, fuck with me, that's your regret. I got some niggas who really be with it. You nigga pussy, you pussy friendly. You nigga pussy, you don't want no action. Hold up, my nigga.
Yo. As soon as I edit this shit there, and
Catch a up, kill a up, lay him down. Fuck with us, you get murked facts, nigga. Big B, 002010 90 black, nigga. We gon' pull up with them sticks and hop out with them choppers. Walking out the 10 in blue Balenciagas. I caught her out, now I got blood on blue Balenciagas. Up that 40, let that pistol sing a melody. Fuck all of that talking, we can go to war. Brain marinating on the boulevard. I got something that'll put you out your misery. 7.62, 5.5, 223. Yeah. Melly baby, and I'm back. Yeah, yeah. I'm on a whole nother fucking wave, bro. Can't even swim with this shit on spit. Young nigga world, baby. Young nigga world, baby. Young nigga wave, yeah, yeah. This shit my destiny, man. With them sharks, hey. I wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47s, Mac 11s, Glocks and 9s, and all these pussy niggas hating.
Alright, we can go ahead and start this shit off.
But I can't let them do it. I got murder on my mind, bitch. I got murder on my mind. Bitch, I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind.
In the early morning hours of October the 26th, 2018, a car rolled into the emergency room entrance in Miramar, Florida, carrying a story that would soon shock the world. In the driver's seat was 19-year-old Cortland Henry, better known as YNW Bortland, a member of the world-famous YNW rap collective, fronted by YNW MELLY, a superstar rapper in the making. Meanwhile, in the passenger seats laid his two close friends and fellow YNW artists, 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr., aka YNW Juvie, and 21-year-old Anthony Williams, aka YNW Sack Chaser, both of them riddled with gunshot wounds and pronounced dead shortly after arrival. That tragic night would mark the beginning of a legal and media firestorm that continues to this very day. According to Bortland, the trio of a drive-by shooting, but the police would quickly realize that something wasn't adding up, or to be more precise, nothing was adding up. And at the heart of the story was none other than YNW Melly himself, as the investigators would uncover a growing mountain of evidence that didn't just place Melly in the car, but pointed to the unthinkable conclusion that he was actually the one that had pulled the trigger and executed two of his closest friends, people he had known since childhood. Now, 7 years later, Melly...
I remember when this shit happened, but this shit had motherfuckers going crazy.
Seems that some of the craziest twists in this case just keep coming.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation.
Melly was on FaceTime, Melly like, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me. Y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me, bro. Like, saying it like...
Who is this nigga, though? Who this nigga is?
Following his 2023 mistrial and heading into his 2027 retrial, Melly's chances of ever seeing freedom again seem to be getting slimmer and slimmer. In September 2025, Melly's alleged partner in crime, YNW...
Boy, the motherfucking sport. Phew!
Portland, would end up entering a no-contest plea to several lesser charges, avoiding a possible life sentence, which indicated to many that he was about to take the stand and tell the court everything. But a few months later, Melly's troubles would continue mounting, as his separate witness tampering charges were suddenly dropped right before another trial was about to begin, only for the prosecutors to announce that this was done so that this damning evidence of witness tampering too could be used.
Bro, this nigga got so many like charges since he been in jail. Like, it's like, god damn.
And undeniably
cooked. Nigga just stopped counting.
Cooked. Yes, cooked. But all
cooked
seems, however, because despite everything I just told you, in this video, we're not only going to establish once and for all exactly why Melly allegedly killed two of his best friends, but even more
allegedly,
all of this evidence against him, there's very good reasons why he might just walk away free and beat this double murder after all.
Bro, we damn sure finna see. They got this shit like a real movie. Oh my god, come on, man.
Event in the public interest. Third part, search me there, become double murderers overnight. The dark circumstances needed for something that serious to happen usually brew up over a long period of time. And before YNW, Melly was a chart-topping rapper, allegedly sitting in the back seat of a car about to kill his two closest friends. He was just a kid in many big cities and buzzing rap hubs of America like Atlanta, New York, or Los Angeles. He comes from a much more obscure place in the American South, a little-known place called Gifford, the poorest community.
Boy, you ever been down the street? I know exactly what it's at. This is not what Melly stayed at right now. Why they picked this house like this is where he stayed at?
The entire state of Florida. It was here that Melly's mother, Jamie King, would eventually end up living after becoming pregnant with him at only 14 years old while living in Elyria, Ohio. His father being an artist named Dante the Gift Taylor, who dated Melly's mother when they were both teenagers. But growing up, Melly lived all around the Treasure Coast, but it was in the poor section.
Man, they got the wrong nigga on there. Hold on, man. Why they got him on there? He looked like that one nigga that said, got him.
But when they were both teenagers. But growing up, Melly lived all around the Treasure Coast, but it was in the poor Section 8 housing complex in Gifford called the Orangewood Park Apartments, where he would meet his childhood best friend and one of the eventual victims who he would be accused of murdering, YNW Juvie, aka Christopher Thomas Jr. Melly's childhood was far from easy, and these events arguably laid the groundwork for the shocking tragedy that would ultimately follow. His mother was not only extremely young, but also a single parent working 2 jobs, leaving her often little time to attend to a young Melly. And in a poverty-stricken community like Gifford, where the streets often raise kids faster than their parents can, the absence of real guidance would leave a lasting mark on him. When Melly was in the 4th grade, he would one day find a revolver at his crack-smoking uncle's place while playing around, a revolver that he would take with him and carry.
How do these people know all this shit, man?
I'm a kid though, so I just walk out the house and I shot the and I couldn't hear out my ear for like a week. And I was like, damn, this is a real gun, you know what I'm saying? I was only in 4th grade, but I took that everywhere, to school. I took that everywhere.
According to Melly himself, ever since that moment, he would become addicted to guns.
I found my first gun when I was 9 years old. Ever since then, like growing up, I was so addicted to them. I loved them.
At some point, Melly's mother, Jamie, would find a new partner, Benny King Jr., the father of Melly's little brother, YNW B-Slime, who has since become a popular rapper following in his brother's footsteps. Unfortunately, it seems that Benny and Melly didn't get along too well. And in the summer of 2011, Benny was arrested and charged with child for allegedly 12-year-old Melly up so badly he would end up in hospital. According to the warrant, Benny was punishing Melly due to allegations of him stealing an iPhone, which was indeed something that Melly had even admitted doing often during his youth, even seemingly openly selling these stolen phones straight from his Facebook page. However, according to Melly's biological father Dante, the real reason for the were much darker. And in actuality, apparently Benny was really angry because of some drugs that Melly had apparently cleaned off the table into the trash without realizing.
My son, at like age 10, his job was to clean up the kitchen when he came home from school. And so he comes home from school, he does his chores. Well, there was a napkin of some sort laying on the counter, and it had some drugs in it.
That's crazy. This nigga telling the story about his son from 10 years ago.
So basically, my son swept it off the counter into the trash because he didn't know what it was. Well, stepdaddy comes home.
He knew what it was.
Ranting and raving around the house, where's my stuff at? My son is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I cleaned up the kitchen. So stepdaddy finds his stuff in the trash can. So, long story short, he put his hands on my son.
The AI Toolkit is live on Artlist. Every leading AI tool you need for video creation is now organized for you.
Whatever the case, a few years later, Melly's mother would also allege on Facebook that Benny had been violent with her. And while Melly had rarely talked about his parents in public, his Facebook posts give an image of a very dysfunctional family. It was after the violent incident with Benny that Melly moved to live with his grandmother. And according to Dante, the fact that Melly's mother Jamie seemingly chose her new husband over her own son deeply hurt Melly.
My son's mother, Jamie Dimmons, made the choice to send my son off to his grandmother's house. So when she sent him, you can imagine, okay, first of all, he was old enough to know you chose your husband that was in the wrong in the first place over me. Is basically what he used to call me at age 10 and 11 and tell me, like, mom chose her husband over me, like he was dead wrong. He should have never put his hands
There's
on me.
always two sides to a story, so I don't know.
His grandma, and around 7th grade, he would allegedly begin to sell drugs, and more concerningly, start bringing knives to school. Until one day, Melly would take out a knife and threaten to both himself and a girl, an incident that actually landed him in a mental institution.
I kept bringing knives to school and shit. I around and pulled one out on one of the lunchroom.
So you pulled a knife out on someone in school?
Then I did some terrorist type. They was like, what the f***?
It's terrorist.
I was crazy. I was crazy. I was about to my neck, it's her neck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then they just sent me to the crazy home, and I got right. They put me on.
How long were you in there?
7 days.
Clearly, Melly was beginning to display some pretty serious issues with his
That
mental
boy,
health,
wild
which can also
boy.
be seen on his
7
old Facebook
days.
posts. On social media and in interviews, Melly has also openly talked about having both bipolar disorder and ADHD, which he would receive several medications for over the years. Many years later, Melly would even begin openly rapping about his alleged multiple personalities, at times claiming to have as many as 6 personalities.
How many personalities do you have?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Back then, most listeners likely just brushed this off as a creative gimmick, nothing more than an edgy concept meant to set him apart, but with the benefit of hindsight, and in light of his serious mental health struggles growing up, these lyrics begin to feel far less symbolic and much more likely an unsettling glimpse into the deep fractures in Melly's psyche that had formed beneath the surface. The two most well-known of his personalities, firstly being Melly, his default persona, always happy and loving, contrasted with Melvin, the total opposite, the sinister side of Jamel that apparently comes out when someone tries to take advantage of the goodness of Melly. Young Melly's problematic behavior would keep escalating, and in June 2015, he was seemingly arrested for drug possession, assault, and resisting arrest. Around this time, Melly would also increasingly begin to use gang slang in his Facebook posts relating particularly to the Blood Gang. More specifically, there were already indications that Melly had connections with a specific East Coast originated set of the Bloods, the Gangster Killer Bloods, also known as the G-Shine, who were active in places like the nearby Fort Pierce, just a 30-minute drive south from Gifford.
Let me pause this shit, see if I recognize any of these niggas. G-Shine. Fort Pierce. Man, I don't recognize not one of these niggas. I'm glad I don't. Boy, I'm so happy I don't recognize none of these niggas. Yes, sir.
Where serious gang problems go back decades and where Melly had been going since a young age. Years later, it was this specific connection that would come back to haunt him during his murder trial.
So what you will learn from the evidence, from the Instagram, from the private messages, was that Jamel Demons is a member of the G-Shine Blood set. This is not a stage personality. This is not an actor playing a character. This was his real life.
Melly's street antics would eventually reach the next level. When at 16 years old, he would be arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. On Monday the 19th of October 2015,
16?
the police would be notified about a shooting near the Vero Beach High School. After searching the area, the police would eventually find and arrest Melly, who was a student at the school, for allegedly firing his gun towards 3 other students. Later that night, YNW Portland would post a photo of Melly in jail with the caption, "Slick." The next day, after seemingly getting bailed out, Melly would post a link to a news article about the shooting on his Facebook with the simple caption, "Oh." Much later, footage would begin circulating online of Melly getting interrogated after that shooting. While in interviews, Melly would reveal that the situation actually stemmed from him retaliating against someone because they stole a gun from him.
So I thought the nigga had my gun, you know what I'm saying? I had brought it to school one day, and he told that I had that bitch at school, and he fought. I guess he had his homeboys follow me. And I guess when I went to the office to get searched, they came back, they doubled back and had the pistol. I ain't never like pay attention to it because I was still trying to find out who the fuck had my shit till one day I found out they had me. And the next day I just went, I had to bust at them boys for that.
But whatever the reason for the shooting, this would all
At
point towards
school,
a
he
dark
had to bust at
culmination
them
of all the
boys for
neglect,
that.
abuse, and mental health problems that a young Melly had struggled with his entire childhood,
At
showcasing that
school.
behind the usually smiley outer layer, another personality was hiding, one that Melly would seemingly call Melvin, and one that was not just fascinated with guns, but ready to use them at a moment's notice.
I don't know. We gonna see if this nigga come home. That's what I'm watching it for.
Soul, like it's death in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? All I gotta do is up this motherfucker and yo, you disappear.
This incident would eventually land Melly in juvenile prison, but while there, he would come up with an idea that would forever change his life. The idea for his future hit song, Murder on My Mind. Besides his
Maybach
troubled
music.
childhood, the tragic events of October 2018 cannot be understood without talking about YNW Melly's artistic journey to becoming a world-famous rapper. Growing up, Melly had a passion for singing and performing from a
Maybach
very young
music.
age. And throughout his childhood, he would create different rap groups with his friends, first of these being called 1UP, formed around 2013. While the following year, Melly and his friends began to really promote their music, this time under the name Ghost Gang.
I ain't never
Ghost
heard of
Bros,
that,
at the time
them.
already doing shows at local venues, as well as shooting
I ain't
vlogs
never
where
heard
they
of them.
captured their studio sessions and other daily activities, showing a tight-knit friend group formed around their passion for music.
9 to 5, and we are at Hungry Howie's. You know,
I ain't never heard of them
like
boys
this
right
tonight.
now.
Casper, you know. Ghost gang or no gang.
Ghost gang.
Man, don't do that. Let it do the game.
Can't be in Ghost gang till you get one.
That's what Cat's working on right now.
Got my weed.
Oh, this is way back. This is them boys trying to get it for real. Okay. Jay Green.
It was the following year in 2015 when YNW, or Young N-Word World, would finally be born. But unlike the earlier groups, YNW was more than just a rap collective, it was also a street clique
Maybach
with numerous
music.
members that reflected the
Preston
life that many of his
Sal.
friends had
Shout out to
stepped into
Preston
in the
Sal.
streets.
Just
However,
subscribe.
when it came to music,
Shout
there were
out.
always 5 key members of YNW, including of course Melly, whose natural ability to sing and harmonize his raps were always in a class of their own. Then there was the silent, smooth operator Cortland Henry, aka YNW Bortland, who would later also become Melly's alleged partner in crime. And then there would be their 2 alleged future victims, Christopher Thomas Jr., aka YNW Juvie, Melly's childhood best friend, who was well liked and respected in Gifford, repping a clique known as the 40th Ave Army Gang, who were like a subset of the broader YNW crew, and Anthony Williams, aka YNW Sack Chaser, who was a few years older than the rest, tall and outspoken, and unlike the others, originally from a big city and a major rap hub, Atlanta. And then lastly, there was Jalen Green, aka Jay Green, who was perhaps the only one from the group who could truly match Melly's rapping and singing abilities. At the time, Melly was already showcasing his natural star power on a local level by being so-called Facebook famous in the Treasure Coast area, and particularly at his Vero Beach High School, where he interacted amongst the unusual mix of poor kids from Gifford and highly affluent kids from Vero Beach, which in complete contrast to Gifford is actually
How the fuck this nigga know all this shit, bro? This nigga been doing his research.
popular kid in the school, even creating his own trademarks that everyone would copy, like the so-called Melly pose. And while Melly would keep getting in trouble with the law, eventually getting sent to juvenile prison after his 2015 shooting case, his family and large friendship circle would do their best to keep his name alive by shouting out Free Melly on their social media and wearing custom Free Melly shirts, even organizing Free Melly parties with the rest of the YNW crew performing live. But meanwhile, Melly would keep evolving his sound behind
Yeah,
bars,
I remember a lot of
singing
this.
and freestyling in his cell while beating on his chest for a rhythm.
Crazy. So what? You're pretty good at writing
remember a
verses
lot of
and stuff
this.
without even having a beat.
Not even write, I just beat on my chest, make it from scratch, and then I find the perfect beat for it.
Once you get out, damn, that's crazy.
The rawness of the approach would be a recipe for hits, and only a few days after being
772
released in late
Love was the
2016,
show,
Melly
love
would
it.
drop a video on his Facebook of him singing the new song, 772 Love, dedicated to the Treasure Coast area code. In November, Melly would drop the real song on his SoundCloud, and it would soon go viral locally, even inspiring a challenge where fans would sing their own versions of the song. By this point, Melly was on fire in the streets, with hit after hit pouring out, including the song that would ultimately come to define his life, Murder on My Mind. According to Melly, the chorus first came to him while he was locked up, a moment he later described as tapping into his Melvin alter ego, shaping the song's disturbingly dark theme.
Really woke up in the jail cell and I like, wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. Like Melvin, my other person inside, Melvin, that motherfucker.
Baby said that motherfucker up.
When they wake up, some people think about shoes, some people think about weird shit, and they go with the murder on his mind. And I'm like, all right, bro.
commercial. Let's get to it.
At the beginning of March 2017, the song would drop in its final form, and it seems that Melly was already sure that it would be a hit. But just when Melly's rise to the top was about to begin, he would get locked up again, this time for failing a drug test. Although according to Melly, the real reason was that people in charge of his probation had heard Murder on My Mind and found the song's lyrics so reprehensible that they wanted to send him to a youth academy program for 6 months. This could be part of the reason, but there was also a much more serious crime where Melly had allegedly played a critical role. The short version of the story is that on the 17th of February 2017, a few weeks before the release of Melly's hit song about having a murder on his mind, there was in fact a real homicide where an off-duty police officer would lose his life from a stray bullet during a shooting.
Tori, this is a very difficult morning for Deputy Chambliss's family and staff at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Chambliss's cousin tells me that
Man, I know what it said, man.
at a nearby
I remember when it happened.
and walked across the street to
Police got shot.
comfort family grieving a loved one when his life was cut short. The Indian River County Sheriff's Office says Deputy Chambliss was a 27-year veteran of the department and just 2
I was in the county a lot of times. I seen that nigga.
was a corrections deputy. His nickname Kool-Aid, known for his big smile.
Kool-Aid.
Investigators say it was around 9:30 last night when a suspect or suspects opened fire
I
and
remember
shot
that shit.
Deputy Chambliss in the chest. He was rushed to Indian River County Medical Center where he later died.
This altercation would take place at the wake of Jay Green's mother, who had recently passed away. And at the wake, an argument would allegedly begin between the YNW members and a man named Makil Chambliss. This argument, according to one witness, traced back to none other than YNW Melly robbing Chambliss a few weeks prior. But confusingly, one of the people on Chambliss's side of the beef would be Jacoby Mills, who would later be with Melly and the rest of the YNW crew during the night of the double murder of
that's the nigga that was
took place
snitching.
the following year. This pointing to there likely being a lot.
Damn, that's the nigga that was snitching. I seen him on, he was like in the police thing snitching. Look at these boys, boy. Soldier, I see you. Boy, the sport. Trail, Jay Green, Juvie. Yeah. Boys is hanging out good. Everything was all good. Let's see where this shit went left at.
Happening behind the scenes within this broader friendship circle that we still don't fully understand to this day. But during the investigation, 3 YNW members, Jay Green, aka Jalen Green, YNW Bortland, aka Cortland Henry, and YNW Melly, as well as other people, were identified as possibly having something to do with the lethal shots that killed the off-duty officer. But in the end, Makil Chambliss was arrested in connection to the shooting, but not the homicide. And it seems that there would ultimately be no real closure in the homicide case. Although after Melly and Bortland would be arrested for the double murder of their friends Juvie and Sack Chaser, sources like Complex would report how they were both now being investigated as the main suspects in the homicide of that off-duty officer. While it seems that this case never developed into actual charges against Melly, his probation officer at the time was undoubtedly aware of his name being brought up in this case early on, which may have also affected the law enforcement's urge to get him off the streets. While Melly would go back to being incarcerated, the suspiciously titled song he left behind, Murder on My Mind, would go viral, racking up millions of streams. In September of 2017, Melly's mother Jamie would find out that an artist had taken the beat from Melly's song called Legendary and was promoting it as his own. This artist would wind up being the Sniper Gang rapper and Kodak Black's brother, John Wicks. After getting over the initial anger, Jamie would actually get in touch with John Wicks, while also ending up meeting his manager, who would end up being none other than 100K Track, the infamous music manager who would also get involved in King Von's career before he passed away. Now, this random encounter started a partnership between Melly and Track, and with the help of Track's industry contacts and Melly's natural gift for creating catchy, melodic trap music, his career would soon blow through the roof. After he was released from jail in early 2018.
So they ain't gonna get Cortez no goddamn love. So Cortez ain't nowhere in the picture. They just skipped over Cash Motivated like it wasn't nothing. So what happened to Cash Motivated?
Melly would go on to release numerous music videos that now have hundreds of millions of views, including Melly the Menace, Blue Balenciagas, Butter Pecan, Freddy Krueger, and of course the music video for Murder on My Mind, which now has over 700 million views. No doubt, partly due to the ominous...
Hold on, so, damn. They just gonna give it out. They ain't gonna give nothing to Cash Motivated. I should go look up Cash Motivated, but I'm gonna wait because the video going. I'm gonna just play it a little bit. I'm gonna play it. Fuck it.
meaning that the song would receive after the tragic events of 2018, as many seemingly thought the song had been made after the double murder when it hadn't. But Melly, together with his closest YNW entourage like Bortland, Juvie, and Sack Chaser, would begin to tour all over Florida and beyond, while also making trips to major rap hubs like Los Angeles, where Melly would do interviews with large hip-hop platforms like Jumper, and New York, where he would reportedly sign a deal with the major label 300. In the lead up to the release of his debut mixtape, I Am You, in 2018, he was making a lot of noise, and at this point it was clear that Melly was a natural star, not just in his hometown, but also nationwide, and even globally. Hell, this is before YouTube even took off for me, and I was in the UK bumping blue Balenciagas and trying to find out everything I could about Melly. But at the same time, everything leading up to Melly's rise to fame
sound like you
seemingly
figured out a lot, motherfucker.
his friend circle, and particularly the core group of YNW, had put in some serious effort to make
got
this
cash
dream
in
come
there right
true.
there.
Unfortunately, the success also begun to expose fractures within the YNW crew, driven particularly by one individual who felt his contributions to Melly's rise were being ignored. This ultimately created tensions that would escalate, allegedly drawing out the unresolved damage left by Melly's troubled childhood, bringing out his dark side once again, with tragic and fatal consequences. As Melly's rapid ascent to fame in 2018 reshaped the group's dynamics, fractures began to form within the YNW collective. Firstly, Melly would have a falling out with arguably the second most talented rapper in the crew, Jay Green, which would cause the old friend circle from Gifford to go through some turmoil.
Trying to make up with my niche, you know everything I say go viral. You know that, you know I'm be with that goddamn fame shit. You know that.
Come on, Jay Green.
Jay Green later commented on the falling out in interviews such as Say Cheese, giving an answer that was both vague yet intriguing, saying that he chose to fall back because pride and egos were starting to cause problems, and that people didn't understand their position within the crew, while also adding that jealousy was becoming an issue without ever clarifying exactly who was jealous of who.
Oh yeah,
what was the falling out over?
It was just like, it was like pride and ego, you feel me? Like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, you feel me? It's like everybody want to be the star. Everybody didn't know their position. You feel me? Everybody want to play this other position. Yeah. It's like I don't have those type of attitudes towards, you feel me, that I say I love. If I call you my brother, you feel me? I don't got no jealousy or no hatred, no, you feel me? So when I see like that, I like to fall back. Right. So nigga might feel like I'm acting funny, whatever, but I'm just keeping it G, you feel me? I don't want to involve myself in that type of.
But the beef between Jay Green and Melly would eventually be solved by the end of 2018. But what Jay Green had said about pride and egos within the crew had at that point already caused a much more serious beef, one that would eventually turn deadly. There are many rumors about what this beef was about, but they all have one person in common: YNW Sack Chaser, Melly's childhood friend and one of the key members of the YNW collective. While Melly was undoubtedly the face of YNW, it seems that Sack Chaser saw himself as the kingmaker behind the scenes, the one who had built the brand and put Melly on the path to global fame. On his social media, Sack Chaser would often highlight the motto, lead never follow, which he had also apparently gotten tattooed on himself. These early signs showing that he wasn't somebody who was necessarily comfortable with simply playing the role of a supporting act. And according to the YNW affiliate Jacoby Mills, Sack Chaser was the one aggressively controlling the core group of YNW, including Melly, or as Mills put it, Sack had mind control over them, as he would later tell the police during his interrogation.
Maybach music. I don't know if you guys hear this, but my man just tried that new 100 milligram generic Viagra.
A crazy mother.
I was trying to figure out who he was, but alright, I figured out who he was. This nigga here.
Okay, we've been hearing. Sack is a crazy mother. Like, he is crazy. Like, he had mind control over all them. You know what I'm saying? Anything he say, they do. You know what I'm saying? So he had mind control of them.
However, as Melly's rise to fame began to accelerate, it appeared that things were slowly slipping out of Sack Chaser's control, as his desire to be seen as the group's leader and the reality of that leadership began to erode. This became increasingly apparent in July 2018 when he reposted a series of tweets from Future on his Facebook page, seemingly throwing subtle subliminal shade at Melly by implying that he had given him his style, from ad-libs to song titles to flows, and that he had been too humble for way too long. However, still, during Melly's No Jumper interview, released in August 2018, Melly would proudly show Adam 22 that he had both Juvie and Sack Chaser's names tattooed on his face, a move that would leave Adam confused at the time, as these kinds of tributes are usually reserved for people who are already dead.
So what you got tattooed on your face? Tell me about it a little bit.
What? On my face?
Yeah. We got the heart on this side. What's that say above your eyebrow on that side?
Which side?
Oh, either one. What's it?
No, I got Sat Chase right here. That's my brother. That's my twin.
Okay.
I got Juvie.
Juvie?
Yeah, brother.
Just a lot of your friends who passed?
Yeah. No, them right there.
Oh, okay.
My brother's right there.
Not bad. I wouldn't get none of my friends tattooed on my face until they died.
Yeah,
I'm not a good friend like you are, apparently.
That's
Now,
crazy.
some conspiracy-minded fans have even theorized that this was yet another example of
That's
Melly being a real
crazy.
sociopath who had planned the murders of his two best friends long in advance and got them tatted ahead of the killings. But while this conspiracy might be taking
that's
it a bit
crazy.
far, what is clear is that even if it wasn't pre-planned, the trio clearly had a very deep bond to get each other's names tatted. But unfortunately, when money and fame stepped into the picture, it seems that this deep
64,
bond turned into an
65th,
even deeper
but not
resentment. According to Melly, in his track
63rd.
Versatile, released June 15th, 2018, there was already a war brewing over the copyright to the YNW name, as the song was released the very same month as Melly's own mother
wow.
formally trademarked
Not
YNW.
63rd,
However,
though.
as depositions later revealed, a man named Cortez Ash, aka Rashad Ash, had already filed for a YNW LLC.
My boy, motivated. They got you in here, boy. Hold on, boy. They got you in here.
2018, there was already a war brewing over the copyright to the YNW name, as the song was released the very same month as Melly's own mother formally trademarked YNW. However, as depositions later revealed, a man named Cortez Ash, aka Rashad Ash, had already filed for a YNW LLC back in March 2018. And to make matters more complex, Ash had allegedly been in a relationship with Melly's mother, who was also the owner of a brand called Cash Motivated. And during his 2018 interview on No Jumper, Melly could even be seen sporting a Cash Motivated chain, a topic he clearly avoided discussing.
What's cash motivated, like it says on your chain?
I ain't trying to tell.
What, is some old that you're not necessarily a part of anymore?
I don't want to even talk about that.
Damn, that's
Ash
crazy.
got involved with YNW early, but as Melly ultimately got together with 100K Track as his manager, it seems the relationship with Ash ultimately went sour, leading to a trademark dispute. This shows just how much was taking place behind the scenes, as different people were trying to jump on the money train that they saw the YNW brand becoming due to Melly's sudden success. And according to some sources, there were also clashes over the YNW brand's ownership that may have incidentally signed Juvie and Sackchaser's death warrants. One of the people making these claims was Juvie's father, who later told publicly how there was an alleged $500,000 marketing and licensing deal on the table, which was set to give Melly and Sackchaser $200,000 each.
Maybach music. I think the story about the $200,000 with Anthony was a true story because it's not reported, but Chris told me the same story, and also it was a $500,000 play, and Melly was going to get $200,000, Sack was going to get $200,000, Chris was going to get $100,000, and as I'm hearing it from Chris, they was going to sell the YNW brand.
Whoa.
Not a record deal or nothing like that. It was like for the brand itself. And by them being founding members, they was going to get a piece of it.
They were going to sell the YNW name for licensing or to sell products? Or what do you mean they were going to sell the name?
For marketing, licensing, stuff like that. I think they want to go up on the bigger umbrella just to push them, I think. Push the brand more global. That's what I'm thinking.
In addition, the YNW affiliate Jacoby Mills later alleged to police that Sackchaser expected a separate $200,000 payment directly from Melly's label advance.
Sack texted his mama and said, I'm not going to see that money. At the end of the day, Sack
I ain't know all this shit
200K.
happened.
Melly had 400K coming in, and Sack kept saying he getting 200K. How you getting 200K? Your music don't even add up to what Melly. Your views is not the way Melly shit had to get no 200K.
Oh,
so basically saying
I ain't know all this, but he hating. He a hater.
Sackchaser was dead set on securing that 200K.
What's coming from? The little.
That's why you don't
If
need
you
niggas
get
like
stuck
this
on a
around,
melody,
bro.
or if you just feel like you
That
can't get
nigga
a
a
song
hater.
started, outputs
You telling the police.
I don't. He signed for the year. Signed for a year, but you don't get all your money up front. That broke down to you. Because by the end of the year, if he'd have got it all up front, I think he would have $1 million, $2 million or something. You feel me? Like
Maybach music.
So, then when Sack kept saying he getting that 200K, Melly 400K never came. That kept getting pushed back. Sack kept saying we all gonna eat, but we're gonna be straight. I'm just looking. Everybody else like hell yeah, but I'm like me and my dog Toby looking at Sack like, how you getting 200K?
Chillingly, this was also corroborated by Sack Chaser's mother, who claimed that her son had called her hysterically only days before his death after realizing he was likely never going to see that 200 grand. This struggle for control over the YNW brand's ownership and the group's hierarchy was also evident in text messages sent between Sack Chaser and Melly towards the end of August 2018. In these messages, Sack Chaser clearly positioned himself as the leader and aggressively pressured Melly to respect this established hierarchy, emphasizing how he and Juvie were the CEOs of YNW, while Melly was merely the face. He would also accuse Melly of sabotaging his character by making it seem like Melly was a self-made star, while according to Sack Chaser, he had given numerous artists to Melly in order to make YNW a real label, and that Melly was nothing without his influence and ideas. With Sack even taking full credit for Melly's musical evolution, claiming that he was the one who came up with Melly's signature melodic sound, saying how Melly had been rapping like Wiz Khalifa before his influence. At the time, it seemed that Melly, who confusingly texted under the username Young Sack Chaser Howard, still had a lot of love for Sack Chaser, or at least that's how he would make it seem, confirming Sack Chaser and Juvie's role as CEOs while thanking Sack Chaser for getting him artists. Melly also claimed he was simply waiting for money to arrive so that he could get everybody right, while hinting at crazy plans that the group wouldn't understand until the funds were secured. But interestingly, Melly wasn't the only one that Sack Chaser was beefing with, as there were also numerous pieces of evidence showing that he was clashing heavily with Melly's mother, Jamie. Most famously, after the murders of Sack Chaser and Juvie, old social media posts would begin to circulate showing Jamie dissing Sack Chaser. One of these being an apparent Instagram story where Jamie had taken a screenshot of Sack Chaser's post on Facebook, where he would once again publicly throw shade at Melly and imply that he was the true mastermind behind the operation, while also throwing shade at Jamie, saying how he was going to turn her little son to a king, to which Jamie would respond by calling Sack Chaser really dumb, while saying that Sack was actually broke and got everything he had from Melly, before adding that if Sack Chaser would ever try anything again, she was going to let that Draco go and shoot him. This post implying that the two had already clashed badly in real life. Another piece of evidence was a video clip of Jamie again talking about Sack and their beef, going on a rant about how Sack Chaser was a fake gangster and that Melly was actually successful because of his mother, not because of Sack, before ending by implying that there had indeed been an incident where Sack Chaser had threatened her with a gun, but she wasn't bothered because she was a real gangster and had bigger guns.
Show me text messages from Sack Chaser threatening all her friends and all these people like he's about this life. But I'm saying, like, who the f you ever robbed? Who the f you ever shot at? What the f you ever did? You couldn't even take a weed charge. If you don't sit down and don't ever come for me, because my credentials is real. It ain't even a joke. So don't ever try to come for me, because I don't even play them type of games. Like, what you got that I ain't got? Oh, you threaten me with your little gun?
She talking about Sack Chaser?
I got big guns.
She talking to Sack Chaser?
At the end of the day, Melly is my child.
No,
and he is gonna be great because he's talented. He's talented because his mom, not because of your flow.
So she talking to Sack Chaser.
Text messages presented during Melly's first trial would provide more evidence of this beef, mostly through text exchanges between Melly and Sack Chaser, where Sack Chaser would tell Melly how his mom was bad-mouthing him to everyone, and how he was going to expose Jamie soon, with Melly surprisingly taking Sack Chaser's side in these exchanges, even participating in dissing his own mother, saying some truly wild stuff, like how he didn't even consider her his mother anymore, calling her the devil, before saying how he didn't even care if they, meaning Sack Chaser and some others,
this shit is wild, bro.
she wasn't his mother anymore and had sold her soul. However, the first trial, interestingly, never showed Melly arguing directly with his mother, the way his messages with Sack Chaser seemed to suggest he was. There is some chance that Melly was never actually beefing with his own mom, at least nowhere near to the extent that he wanted Sack Chaser to think. Rather, these messages might have actually been examples of Melly trying to simply play along with Sack Chaser in order to appease the tension or even manipulate him. But whatever the case, it seems that the tension between Melly and Sack Chaser kept escalating in the months leading up to the murder. And at the end of August 2018, there would be an ominous exchange between the two, where Sack Chaser would imply that he felt that Melly was up to something, to which Melly would respond,
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app on Base 24.
God damn.
Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't.
with a long message expressing his frustration, saying how he was done with everything and that Sack Chaser and the others could keep the house where they were all living, and that he was going to eventually pay Sack Chaser for everything he had done for him in his career, before adding that he didn't want to live in the same house with someone who was constantly thinking he was going to betray them, even telling Sack Chaser that he would never hurt him. Melly would then end the message by saying that he just needed some time alone, adding that he would never beef with his day ones, and that he and Sack Chaser were so close that they were basically one person, and that if Sack died, Melly would die too. Sack Chaser would then respond by
them niggas writing some long ass messages, I ain't lying.
Something behind his back, before once again referencing Melly's mother Jamie, seemingly implying that if the
Why
roles
you
were
just pick up
reversed,
the
he
phone?
would never let his mother disrespect Melly like Jamie had disrespected him. Sack Chaser would then send a follow-up message stating that while he wasn't beefing with Melly, everybody would die before he would let something happen to him or his family. Chillingly, these exchanges seem to align with several claims made by their friend Jacoby Mills, who told police that Sack Chaser straight up told Melly that if they try anything with him, he's going to get them all killed.
Sack was telling Melly, like, if y'all trying to slime me, I get all y'all killed.
Jacoby also told that Sack Chaser had forced his family to relocate because
I
he
hope I
believed
don't
that they
never
were
see this
targeted
nigga
by
on the
someone
street.
allegedly tied to Melly.
So I ain't trying to put my people in no danger. You feel me? But
do you think they would hurt your family?
yeah, you damn right. They're finna kill Sack family. Till Sack told them to move. Now they don't know where he stay at. Know they where they stay at.
The following month, things
this
would get
nigga
increasingly
telling
hostile
everything.
as Sack Chaser gave Melly what seemed like a final warning, claiming that he could completely mess up the lives of Melly and everyone else forever, and that everything was in his hands. Then, only some days before that fateful night, Melly and Sack Chaser would allegedly get into a physical altercation, during which the much bigger Sack Chaser would allegedly beat up Melly in front of his girlfriend, as told by the father of YNW Juvie in his interview with the Law and Crime Network.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you know, you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, you know, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
Moreover, during an interview between the mother of Melly's ex-girlfriend, she would claim that Sack Chaser had sent intimate pictures of himself to the girlfriend, while the girlfriend herself would reveal to the police that she had literally stopped hanging out with Melly and his friends because the tension between Melly and Sack Chaser was becoming too intense. There were also other, even more disturbing allegations about Sack Chaser, the most explosive one being that he was actually Melly.
Is that everything?
Yeah. From 2020. I didn't
YNW Sack Chaser.
Why? It's $800. That's all I gotta pay.
From 2020.
I know, that's the only thing I gotta pay though.
Not YNW Juvie.
I thought it was the fees for last year.
Not him.
No, that's
During
all
his
the one I gotta
interrogation,
pay. That's the only
Jacoby
one.
Mills described a FaceTime call that led him to believe that Sack Chaser may have actually...
Because I was making a payment plan.
Melly.
I had it on a payment
Why,
plan.
what motive would Melly have to kill his two friends?
It was from an old one?
Yeah.
They just piss him off?
Alright.
I don't know, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm telling you straight up.
I have to, because I had it on a payment plan. I gotta pay the full amount.
Like, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me. Y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me, bro.
Alright, y'all, I'm back live.
Saying it like
That's all.
Sack.
I had to answer the phone.
So I'm like, what you saying, bro? What you saying? Like, what Sack was doing to you? Say it. And he don't never say, like, he just kept saying, y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me.
Do you think Sack was him?
I don't know, bro. That's why I'm saying.
What?
I don't know
What he said?
An adult.
I don't know, but like Sack bigger than Melly. Do you think Melly about this?
Oh, yeah.
Sack about
At face value, this claim seems extremely far-fetched, but it could also reflect a partial reality, possibly
I know
representing
you ain't say
Melly's
what I
attempts
think he
to
said.
explain to those around him the psychological and perhaps even a physical abuse that Sack Chaser may have directed towards him. This was also coupled with rumors that Sack Chaser was and having relations with Bortland and Juvie's little sister Chloe, who was reportedly only years old at the time. If true, this could help explain Bortland's alleged motive for assisting Melly in the murders, but at the same time, it complicates the narrative, because it offers little explanation for the killing of Juvie, who under this theory would have shared the same incentive to remove Sack Chaser from the picture, although according to some people, this could have been to Juvie allegedly turning a blind eye to what Sack was doing. But overall, unlike with Sack Chaser, the motive for Juvie's murder has always been a mystery, one of the only theories being that Juvie was simply collateral damage, who was taken out because he wasn't willing to go along with the murder of Sack Chaser. Many of our
Maybach
Juvie
music.
had to be killed out of fear that he would eventually cooperate with law enforcement. But one of the more compelling alternative theories suggests that Melly and Bortland feared Juvie, not because he might talk to the police, but because of the respect that he commanded in Gifford, and the influence he carried through his ties in the streets with cliques like the 40th Ave Army Gang. That possibility gains additional weight from what followed, as retaliation would indeed erupt in the streets of Gifford after the murders. Violence that, as we'll later explore, appeared to be driven specifically by those closest to the YNW Juvie. In the end though, this is all just speculation, but what does seem supported by the facts is that behind the scenes, the conflict between Melly and Sackchaser was reaching a breaking point, which would allegedly finally come to its tragic culmination in October 2018.
And what's that?
Josh was just a creative guy with great ideas until he started creating with artless.
Murders.
By the fall of 2018, the close-knit friend group that had once fueled YNW's rise to fame was irreparably fractured, and what had begun as a brotherhood had quietly decayed into a situation where it was no longer a question of if something would happen, but when. In late October, back in their home state of Florida, the YNW crew headed to a recording studio in Fort Lauderdale called New Era. Allegedly, the tension was also present that very night, and during the later police investigation, Melly's ex, Felicia Holmes, claimed that she had overheard that either Sackchaser or Juvie had actually dissed Melly in a rap during their studio session. Later that night, in the early morning hours of October the 26th, at around 3:20 a.m., they left the studio with two cars, a grey Jeep SUV and a red Mitsubishi SUV, this moment being captured by the studio's security cameras, which showed how the grey Jeep had Bortland in the driver's seat and Sackchaser next to him, Juvie in the back behind him, and Melly in the left rear seat behind Bortland. In hindsight, that positioning feels both symbolic and strategic, with the alleged aggressors on one side, Bortland having control over the vehicle, while Melly being tucked in the back seat with direct aim on both of their alleged victims. While Sackchaser and Juvie were on the opposite side, Sackchaser sitting in the front, still projecting authority and unaware of what was about to unfold. Meanwhile, the red Mitsubishi was packed with their childhood friends and YNW affiliates, including Dontavius Withers, aka YNW Taliban, Adrian Davis, aka YNW Big Bank, or AD, and Jacoby Mills, aka YNW Bobby, and Trevion Glass, aka YNW Fetty. Interestingly, Jacoby Mills would later tell police how he was about to enter the great
all these niggas can't be YNW. I ain't never heard of them.
Jeep instead, but something or someone had stopped him, according to Jacoby, that being God himself.
I'm gonna tell you some crazy. I tried to go get in a car with what's the name of them, because Juvie had to go back inside and get some weapons, whatever. So I tried to go get in that car, but when I tried to grab the door, I got pushed back to the red car, but nobody was there.
Who pushed you back to the red car?
Nobody.
Yeah, get your telling ass back.
I'm letting you know now.
No, he gonna snitch.
I did it the second time.
Get your bitch ass back. We don't want you little snitching ass nigga around with us.
That put me back over there to the red car.
However, Jacoby himself would later tell investigators he's a blood cousin of Bortland, which paints this rather wild explanation in a different light, as Jacoby would later clearly try and steer blame away from his cousin. In that context, the claim that God pushed him away could also potentially serve as a cover for the possibility that Bortland had instructed him to get into a different car, a detail that, if true, suggests some kind of premeditation.
You don't think Cortland did it, do you?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you straight up. To me, Cortland ain't living like that. That's my blood cousin. Cortland is my blood cousin. Auntie Fina, all that, yo. Blood cousin, like. Bortland not living like that.
After leaving the studio, the two-car convoy headed to the nearby city of Miramar, where they had been living together in the Sunset Lakes gated community. At around 3:50 a.m., the red Mitsubishi arrived at the crossing of Miramar Parkway and at 184th Avenue and turned south to enter the Sunset Lakes community. However, the grey Jeep continued towards north, reaching Pines Boulevard and turning west, then turning south on US 27, until reaching the far west of Pembroke Road, a small and secluded stretch of road without streetlights. What unfolded next, and how the group ultimately arrived at this remote location, is still unknown. One widely discussed theory, however, is that Sackchaser and Juvie may have been asleep, leaving Melly and Bortland with the time and control needed to steer the vehicle somewhere they believed no one would see them. There, about 900 feet or a few hundred meters off US 27 highway, Sackchaser and Juvie were allegedly shot and killed, and afterwards the car, including the dead bodies inside the car, was shot several more times from the outside.
Damn.
Bortland and Melly drove with the dead bodies back towards where they came from, until Melly would allegedly exit the vehicle and make one of his greatest mistakes, weeks, placing a FaceTime call to his, at the time, girlfriend Mariah Hamilton, who was in the presence of her mother, Felicia Holmes. During that call, Melly would allegedly tell how he had been the victim of a drive-by shooting and how Sack Chaser and Juvie were dead. Afterwards, Melly would contact his friend, the rapper Fredo Bang, dropping him a pin of where to pick him up. Meanwhile, Bortlen would arrive at the hospital around 3:35 a.m., alerting the medical staff and a police officer that there were gunshot victims in his vehicle. Bortlen was then later questioned by the police, who he told that he had driven from the studio towards the Sunset Lakes when a car pulled up next to them and begun shooting. Bortlen would take the police to the alleged crime scene, but despite the police canvassing several miles of the road, there was zero evidence that any shooting had taken place, nor were there any reports of gunshots coming from the area. This was only the beginning of Bortlen's story beginning to fall apart like a house of cards. The police eventually got their hands on the security footage from the studio, figuring out that there was a missing passenger that Bortlen had conveniently left out of his story.
Damn.
This, of course, being Melly. Melly's alleged phone would also corroborate his movements, not only showing that he had traveled in a car driven by Bortlen, but that the car had traveled to the actual location of the shooting.
See that?
These
niggas back in the
police would
day,
end up
like,
finding numerous shell
niggas ain't
casings
know
that
that
matched the
phone
bullet
fuck
holes
you up,
caused
bro.
by the supposed drive-by, as well as two
Niggas ain't know that phone to fuck you up, boy.
vehicle. But that wasn't the worst part, because when the investigators took a closer look at the car itself, they quickly came to the conclusion that this had not been a drive-by at all. And the most damning of all, police would find a single shell casing inside the vehicle, something that would be only possible if the shots had been fired from inside the car. Even worse for Melly, that casing was found on the left rear passenger side, the exact seat that he had been occupying according to the studio's security camera footage, and the same position from which the fatal shots were fired according to forensic evidence. And these pieces of evidence were just the tip of the iceberg, as there were also numerous pretty damning pieces of digital evidence, like Melly allegedly telling how he did that to another rapper only hours after the murders, or how he told his girlfriend how Bortlen was coming everywhere with him because if the cops came to get him, it would be his fault. It's not exactly clear how much Melly was aware of the investigation going on behind the scenes, but publicly he would continue his life as if almost nothing had happened, enjoying every moment of the fame that only grew stronger as a result of the media attention following that tragic night. Right after the murders, he would pay his respects to his dead friends with numerous tribute posts. Interestingly, already the very same day that Juvie and Sack Chaser passed away, Melly would also be back in grind mode, shooting a music video with another Florida rapper, Burger, titled Nightmares at the Bottom, which would eventually be released about a month after the double murder. In December, Melly would also put out a short documentary about his life on YouTube, which would highlight a major problem that he had allegedly created for himself due to his actions on the night of the murders. This being the two separate realities that Melly was trying to establish, one being the version that Bortlen had told the police, where Melly had never even been in the car when the murders happened, while the second being the one that he started with the FaceTime call to his girlfriend on the night of the murders, and which he was likely telling all his friends, where he had actually been there and survived an attempt on his life. This version of the story being on full display in the documentary, which would end with an eerie statement saying how 4 days after the completion of this film, YNW Melly and his friends were the targets of a drive-by shooting in Miami, Florida, and YNW Juvie and Sack Chaser were killed. The problem with these two narratives would eventually become one of the key issues in the courtroom, but in the meantime, Melly's career trajectory would completely explode coming into 2019 as he released his second mixtape, We All Shine, a rather obvious nod to his alleged gang, G-Shine, reinforcing the impression that he was moving forward without hesitation, seemingly unconcerned by any possible scrutiny building behind the scenes. The album itself included the song Mixed Personalities, featuring none other than superstar rapper Kanye West, this song becoming Melly's true breakthrough hit to the mainstream. However, the party wouldn't last long, because already on the 13th of February, Melly, together with Bortlen, would be charged with first-degree murders of Juvie and Sack Chaser, with the Miramar police coming out with a confident press release on Twitter saying how the duo had staged the drive-by, while Melly would post a message to his fans on Instagram stating his innocence before turning himself in. At their home turf in Gifford, where the news had undoubtedly caused some major turmoil, the response would seemingly come the following year when Bortlen's dad was shot several times, landing him in critical condition. A suspect was soon arrested, turning out to be 18-year-old Travion Banks, a childhood friend of YNW Juvie, who had actually made music under the name YNW AG Trill, AG standing for the 40th Ave Army Gang that Juvie repped even before YNW. And the local news would report how the police had considered the shooting to be a retaliation for the murders of Juvie and Sack Chaser. Meanwhile, on social media, Juvie's other childhood friend, YNW Doo-Wop, would soon make an ominous statement that if Melly was out, he would have been next on the chopping block. But while street justice came relatively quickly, as we know now, the arrest of Melly and Bortlen would start one of the most infamous legal cases in rap history, and one that's still ongoing 7 years later, and one where, despite all the evidence we've explored, the odds of Melly avoiding a conviction remain disturbingly high. After the double murder and the investigation that followed, the question remained, was YNW Melly responsible for the calculated and cold-blooded killing of his closest friends, or was this, as Melly's legal team continued to claim following the narrative established by Bortland, that was just the result of a tragic drive-by shooting? For 4 years, Melly remained in legal limbo, waiting for his day in court, until finally in June 2023, that day arrived. But that trial turned out to be a legal spectacle that ultimately failed to produce a definitive outcome, ending in a mistrial on July the 22nd.
We are still unable to reach a unanimous decision. So at this time, what I am going to do is just declare a mistrial.
After 19 days of testimony and over 14 hours of deliberation spread across 3 days, a 12-member jury remained hopelessly deadlocked, with 3 jurors reportedly refusing to find Melly guilty on the charges of manslaughter. The most sensational detail of the mistrial came out afterwards, when one juror claimed publicly that the deadlock was driven by one disruptive juror, who eventually persuaded 2 others to come to her side. But even without the influence of one alleged rogue juror, what's noteworthy is that the jury seemingly unanimously found that there was no evidence beyond reasonable doubt to convict Melly of first-degree murders, the actual charges that the prosecution were aiming for. And despite forensic experts testifying that the fatal shots came from inside the car, directly contradicting the drive-by shooting narrative, and phone data placing Melly's alleged phone inside the vehicle at the time of the murders, the case remained deeply divided, and the prosecution and police overall would receive a barrage of criticism on how the investigation was handled.
Florida judge sided with Melly's defense team and pulled lead prosecutor Christine Bradley off the case. It's a huge win for the rapper's defense, who claimed Bradley allegedly covered up a report that the investigation's lead detective had asked a Broward County Sheriff's deputy to lie about being present while serving a search warrant.
She lied. You got people lying on the stand.
You need to say you were here when I served that search warrant. And it was kind of like an awkward moment. Someone described it just kind of getting punched twice in the head. So there's a search warrant that gets served. And I'm like, what's going on? And then the next thing, he's asking this deputy to lie for him.
This is a fundamental fairness thing. You have evidence, you need to turn it over to him. If you didn't turn it over to him, you can't use it. That's really basic.
I don't think the prosecution is being effective at all. She's not connecting the dots. She's just reading a bunch of emails and a bunch of texts, and I think the jury is going to have a very difficult time tying that all back to Melly.
The actual evidence of someone saying, hey, he was the guy who pulled the trigger, he was the guy
Maybach music.
Here's the DNA, here's the gunshot residue, that's all missing.
This looks a little incompetent. Miramar Police seems to have botched this investigation, and they call the Broward Sheriff's Office and ask them to come and look at the investigation upon which this entire prosecution rests. And he looks at it, and he says he instantly knew he had to start from scratch. I think his words were,
"That's a good lawyer, right? That's a good lawyer."
I had seen in my life.
And decisions
Great
ending
lawyer.
after 3 days, with the jury not able to come up with a unanimous decision to decide the fate of YNW Melly.
Moreover, the heavy focus on Melly's alleged gang affiliation, which the prosecution was seemingly trying to use to show premeditation in order to justify the first-degree murder charges, was also seen by many experts as simply a flawed strategy.
They're just talking about taking oaths. They're talking about what happens within the gang and with the G-Shine, which is the subset of the Bloods, but nothing really has been established as far as that crime is concerned. And last thing I'll mention is they're talking about dates before and after the crime, so nothing's really been established thus far in my mind.
One of the defense's most critical psychological wins was arguably involving the state's gang expert, Detective Danny Polo, who begun his testimony by wearing a full ski mask, arguably for his own safety, which many considered to be terrible optics.
Always said, if you have to be masked, get somebody else to do it.
Straight
I think
up.
wearing a mask just taints the entire case. It immediately puts the jurors, it gives them anxiety.
Things would get even worse when, during cross-examination, it was revealed that Polo's face was easily found on public internet searches and, unfortunately, on his wife's Cash App profile, with the judge eventually forcing Polo to remove his mask in the court.
And show you what this is a picture of a mask. That is you and your family.
Yes, sir.
And that's on your wife's Cash App.
Yes, sir.
Got your fuck ass. Take that shit
I
off,
think it
bitch.
also backfired because now he has to go without a mask. So it seems that from the state side or the prosecution side, maybe they were masquerading, great word, initially, and they were trying to
try to hide his face. This was
point a spotlight on the defendant unnecessarily.
The defense also succeeded in creating reasonable doubt on multiple fronts, like highlighting the crucial fact that the murder weapon was never found and no eyewitnesses placed the gun in Melly's hand. And not only was the gun never found, but the same seems to apply also for the clothes that Melly was allegedly wearing during the murders, which undoubtedly would have had blood on them, just like Portman's t-shirt, which he tried to cover with a hoodie. There's also another matter that's rarely brought up, but if Melly did indeed receive a ride from Fredo's bang after the murders, why was Fredo's car seemingly never searched for blood, as there would almost certainly have been traces on it unless Melly literally changed his clothes before stepping into the car. Perhaps this was done and nothing was found, but given the police didn't apparently get a warrant to search for bloodstains inside Melly's house, this seems unlikely.
Of the Jeep, all bloody, blood all over the place.
Hey, you talking about this Melly shit, boy?
I
don't know if he's getting out. It ain't looking too good right now.
You don't see it. Why in the heck don't you get a search warrant for the house? Why in the heck don't you? Don't tell us.
That's a great lawyer, by the way.
We didn't know where he lived.
Crucially for the defense, one witness, Adrian Davis, also provided an alternative timeline, testifying that Melly had actually left the Jeep before the shooting.
Did there come a time that you were woken up before you got to the house?
Yes.
What happened?
We pulled over, and that's when Melly got in the car with us.
But now, as Melly heads into his 2027 retrial, many things have changed. After the first trial, allegations of withholding evidence ultimately led to the removal of the lead prosecutor, Christine Bradley, from the case.
Moretti, Deputy Moretti, who's one of the investigators.
Listen, it's called Connect Team, and it's insane. I don't do schedules or timesheets manually anymore. And it works? Oh, like you wouldn't believe it. My team puts in their availability, I click.
In this case, executed a search warrant on Jamel Demon's mother's phone, Jamie King's phone, Jamel Demon's mother. There was an issue with that whole interaction. She came into the police station, they tried to grab it from her. He executed a search warrant. After it was done, another deputy comes in and he says, just say you were here or something to that effect, that you were in the room when this happened, which didn't happen. And another lawyer walked out because she's like, I'm not going to be part of this. And so that was never turned over to the defense.
Later, in August 2025, Melly would request to change his entire legal team due to the prosecution entangling one of his representatives at Raven Liberty into the criminal investigations around him. This may have backfired on the prosecution in a major way though, because as a replacement, Melly retained Drew Findling, the famed billion-dollar lawyer whose involvement will likely change the legal landscape around the case.
It didn't help his ass out.
Findling,
it might help him out now though.
Even represented the current president of America, Donald Trump, is a specialist in navigating the intersection of rap culture and the criminal justice system. He would represent Waka Flocka in a case where a firearm was discovered in his luggage during an airport security check, with him securing a not guilty verdict by successfully arguing that the rapper had accidentally taken his wife's bag to the airport, and while representing Cardi B in her widely publicized strip club brawl, in which she was accused of assaulting two women who had allegedly been intimate with her partner Offset, with Drew Findling negotiating a sweetheart plea deal that ultimately resulted in just 15 days of community service. But perhaps most notably, with regards to Melly's case, Findling also represented Stephen McAllister, a man who was accused alongside a co-defendant of a robbery homicide. The state had a video of the crime, but without key witness testimony that they failed to secure, they could not definitively prove who was behind the mask or who fired the fatal shot, and that trial ended in an acquittal too. Most recently, Drew Findling was famously retained by none other than rap superstar Lil Durk to represent him in his federal murder for hire case. And while even Findling might not be able to save Durk from his federal nightmare, defending Melly in a state murder case is a completely different reality altogether. In September 2025, Melly's alleged accomplice YNW Bortland, aka Cortland Henry, took a plea deal, avoiding the murder charges but pleading no contest to the lesser accessory after the fact charges, meaning that he wouldn't admit guilt to anything but also decided not to fight the charges, receiving 10 years in prison minus 1,340 days, or about 3 years and 8 months that he'd already served in jail, plus 6 years probation. It seems that even the judge in the case was surprised by how favorable the deal was, given that Bortlen was originally facing multiple life sentences. However, for most people, the reason seemed obvious. Bortlen was let off the hook so he would flip and ensure that Melly would be found guilty. People the was 6 years probation, 340 days, decided not to fight the charges, receiving 10 years in prison minus 1,340 days, or about 3 years and 8 months that he'd already served in jail, plus 6 years probation. It seems that even the judge in the case was surprised by how favorable the deal was, given that Bortlen was originally facing multiple life sentences. However, for most people, the reason seemed obvious. Bortlen was let off the hook so he would flip and ensure that Melly would be found guilty during the retrial. As even Melly's former lawyer, Bradford Cohen, would announce publicly soon after the news broke.
A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. It is an individual's decision whether or not to become Chuck E. Cheese, and in this case he has become Chuck E. Cheese. Is Chuck E. Cheese a mouse or a rat? I'm not sure. But long story short is he will be flipping, and it's going to make the case against YNW Melly a lot more difficult to win.
These claims were based particularly on the part of his plea agreement where he promised to provide a sworn statement to the prosecution in order to, quote, explain his role. According to attorney John Phillips, who represents YNW Juvie's family in a civil lawsuit against Melly, Bortlen, and several others, it's likely that Bortlen will be called to testify during Melly's retrial, and if subpoenaed, Bortlen would no longer be able to invoke his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. That means if he were asked direct questions, such as whether Melly was present during the murders, Phillips believes Bortlen would likely confirm the prosecution's version of events. As lawyer and YouTuber Bruce Rivers would comment on his channel, if that happens, Melly is indeed completely cooked.
Theoretically, Phillips said, Bortlen could now be called as a witness in Melly's upcoming trial. He could testify for Melly or against Melly. But my guess is if he's agreeing to do a proffer, he's going to snitch. I expect that to be the case, Phillips said. If they subpoena him, he can no longer take the Fifth Amendment on these issues. A judge can't compel him to testify now because double jeopardy's attached. Just ask, did Mr. Demons, that's Melly, ever leave that car? Was he sitting behind you at the time of the shootings? A jury's going to watch him squirm. He's going to say, yes, Mr. Demons was there. Or Demons, whatever. And that's the missing piece. So right now they have all this circumstantial evidence. And that's one of the reasons that he got a hung jury. With this, Melly's goose is kind of cooked.
Now, I'm not a legal expert, and I would never claim to know more about the law than someone like Bruce Rivers, but I would just like to point out that it wasn't that long ago when another very high-profile murder case rested on the shoulders of a star witness who couldn't plead the fifth due to his deal with the prosecution, and all I'm saying is that didn't turn out too well for the prosecution in the end. This is because, as the attorney Phillips himself would admit, now that Bortlen has been sentenced, there's little leverage that the prosecution has left against him. Bortlen's own lawyer would also give a statement after the plea deal saying that he doesn't represent snitches and that Bortlen would not be cooperating or testifying in Melly's trial, adding to that saying anyone who claims differently has not seen the plea deal and has no idea what they're talking about. It seems there's very little, if any, incentive for Bortlen to testify against Melly, and a whole lot of incentive for him to not testify, given particularly that he will be out in the not-so-distant future, with the opportunity to continue his rap career, which could be worth hundreds of thousands, if not more, with the right music and marketing team behind him. And while someone like Gunner's career took very little blowback from him allegedly cooperating with authorities in a roundabout way, Bortlen could very likely kiss his comeback goodbye if he actually did testify against Melly. The same sentiment was also shared by criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson-Ferrer when interviewed by the Law and Crime Network after the plea hearing.
As far as I'm understanding it to be is that through this proffer agreement, of course, the prosecution wants him to cooperate, but there's no negative sanction for him if he does not. There's not a positive that he will receive if he provides certain information, and there's not a negative that he would receive if he doesn't cooperate or if he doesn't give any additional information. I think considering the possible lifestyle that he lives, and of course we're in a no snitching environment with certain demographics, that he probably will not say much of anything at all.
But rather than making a witness out of Bortlen, the real reason why the prosecution decided to give him the plea deal may be because they didn't want to show their hand to Melly's defense before the retrial, given that their arguments against both Bortlen and Melly would have likely been very similar. This sentiment was seemingly shared by one of Bortlen's lawyers, who would give a further explanation to 1090 Jake about Bortlen's plans of not cooperating, saying how neither side wanted the case to go to court before Melly's case.
To be clear, his plea his proffer, and anything surrounding it will have absolutely no impact on Melly's trial. I want to add just a little bit more background to what's happened over the past couple of weeks. Neither defense nor the state wanted this case to go to trial.
You have it listen, you type it in, and then you go digging.
You literally just drag it in, and it'll be an audio clip.
Trial this month. We believe that our case should be stayed until after Melly's appeals are resolved and his case is ready for trial. Because our anticipation was that Melly's case would be tried before Bortland's. However, the judge denied our request for a continuance and denied our request to stay Bortland's case pending Melly's appeals.
Damn.
So we were moving forward to trial.
Switcheroo.
Besides the fact that the prosecution likely won't have a new star witness at Melly's trial, they would also receive some bad news in October 2025, when the appeals court would agree that the previous judge in the case did not abuse his discretion when he limited the digital evidence admitted into retrial to the day of and following the murders, which meant that the prosecution had to throw away weeks of digital evidence obtained from their overly broad warrant. So now, coming into 2026, Melly's new legal team, Drew Findling, and co-counsel Carrie Horwath would arguably received more good news. For nearly 2 years, the state held a witness tampering charge over Melly's head, alleging that he had used jail communications to prevent his ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton from testifying.
Portland Henry. According to court documents, Melly, who does not get phone privileges while in custody, recruited another inmate named Terrence Mathis to help him talk to Henry. They also say Henry, who is on house arrest waiting for his own murder trial, allegedly delivered messages for Melly more than 100 times in the last year. Investigators say Demmons would write notes and have them passed to Mathis, who would then call Henry and pass along Melly's instructions. During one of those calls, a detective heard Mathis giving directions to Henry to keep Rihanna away from court, and said Henry was clearly uncomfortable with getting those directions on a recorded call. Rihanna, investigators say, is a code name for Melly's former girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton, who has not been cooperative with the state's investigation so far.
But finally, on the very eve of jury selection for that trial, prosecutors effectively dropped all charges related to the witness tampering.
State attorneys confirming the witness tampering charges dropped against the rapper. Before that announcement, the jury selection was expected to take place tomorrow.
Drew Findling would comment on the decision, characterizing it as an admission that no crimes had occurred, despite Melly being held for 652 days on those specific allegations. The prosecution would strike back with a statement where they seemed to imply that the actual reason was so that the evidence from the witness tampering trial could be used against Melly during the murder trial to establish his consciousness of guilt. But in reality, it's likely that the prosecution never wanted to go through with the witness tampering case in the middle of their murder prosecution, and that this was all just a bluff until the very end, which Melly's defense would call out, forcing the prosecutors to ultimately fold, as argued by a Florida criminal defense attorney, Lisa Figueroa.
I didn't expect the tampering case to go to trial. It's just not common for them to really be pursuing a tampering case when they have an active murder case, especially that is high profile and everyone's watching it. You risk putting this whole case and all the case facts out in front of potential jurors before the other trial comes forward. So they have to decide. It's a strategic game of chicken, really, and the defense held the line, and ultimately the state folded.
However, one key factor that's very important for the defense was seemingly confirmed during the witness tampering case, this being the fact that Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton, who was doing everything to evade the prosecution during the first trial, is still not cooperating, as she was once again labeled by the prosecution as a hostile witness, this seemingly also playing a key part for why the prosecution decided to drop the witness tampering charge. This is arguably crucial for the defense, as both Hamilton and her mum, Felicia Holmes, seem to hold some key evidence for the prosecution, as becomes evident from the messages that Holmes sent to people allegedly involved in the murders such as Bortland, as well as from both Holmes and Hamilton's initial talks with the investigators. However, their refusal to testify about that alleged evidence in court has so far played very well for the defense. So well, in fact, that Felicia Holmes' hostile testimony during the first trial arguably weakened the prosecution's case considerably, as it would paint them as bullies going after ordinary law-abiding citizens.
When you first took the stand, you said, "I feel threatened."
Yes, sir, I do.
Who do you feel threatened by?
Christine, Your Honor. Christine Bradley, the prosecutor's office.
This prosecutor.
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Overall, it seems that most people still think that Melly is ultimately cooked when it comes to his retrial. And as I've discussed throughout this video, I do personally think that he probably did kill his friends, in my opinion. So I would never claim that he will absolutely beat this case, but what I am saying is that particularly when it comes to the state's charges, the existence of evidence is one thing, but the investigation that produced that evidence is another one entirely. And as the first trial already made it clear, this investigation, unfortunately for the state, contains some very serious flaws, which is why it would be a mistake to underestimate what an elite defense attorney like Drew Findling can actually do when it comes to picking apart a case that's already full of holes, exploiting every single procedural mistake to turn even a strong narrative against Melly into serious reasonable doubt. And in a trial where the margin between conviction and another mistrial is
I don't know about that, boy. He do that one, boy. He a bad motherfucker, boy.
Melly a plea deal that at least avoids the first-degree murder charges before the retrial, they likely would after another mistrial. But then again, regardless of where the truth ultimately lies, before Melly will have his time in court again, 8 years will have slipped by. Already, Melly has spent the better part of his 20s behind bars, effectively serving time for a serious conviction without ever receiving one. And that harsh reality is likely not lost on the prosecution. So no matter what you think of Melly, or if like me you think he probably did kill his friends, America is all about true and balanced justice. Innocence until proven guilty, and at this stage, Melly still hasn't been proven guilty, and it is actually still possible that he might never be proven guilty.
Oh, that's the end of that motherfucker.
I like making my podcast. I don't like making...
Damn, what all went wrong there, man?
weird stuff.
Damn, my boy. We just learned all that about you, man. Somebody said 63rd. What's rolling out?
If Drew didn't film it, then it ain't filmed right.
I'm gonna let the world know something.
Alright, man. Free Melly. I'm gonna play one of his songs. And then it's over with. Free Melly. The dark side. After this is over with.
I'm hot as fuck in this jacket. Getting hotter than a bitch in here. I ain't really with the shit, yeah, beer. Shorty drunk as fuck, I think she did a beer. I don't want that hoe, she from last year. Gang, 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 gang. I ain't really with the shit, yeah, beer.
Man, that was right like a bitch.
Gang, 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 gang.
You know a nigga right that.
Gang, 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 gang.
That nigga ran like a bitch. You know a nigga right that.
Gang, 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 gang. You know a nigga really slime, 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 slime. You know a nigga really rhyme, 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 rhyme. Fuck boy, get talked in a motherfucking pimp boy. Leave you shit it out, fuck boy, what's the answer? Call them niggas, but they ain't answer. Ballin' on niggas
like get that, man.
Ballin' on niggas like I got cancer.
I've been on this shit like 2 hours.
That name should be Prancer. I've been on that dick, that little bitch, that should be a dancer. She don't wanna be a stripper, so I cannot tip her. Thick yellow bitch, and she grabbing on my zipper. Catch a pussy nigga, shoot him like I play for Clippers. Oops, I meant to blipper, baby girl, you know I'm slimy. Fucking on your thought, I'm like the Grinch, I'm super grimy. Slimy, green, ooh, yeah. Think the bitch the Grinch, she keep eating on glass. Fuck your thought.
Join the Discord, join the Twitch, subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord, join the YouTube, subscribe, like.
I got red, you know them bitches on me.
They go abort the sport, boy. Right with him.
Eat a dick, drink it
boy, got his partner right with him, boy.
Your nigga hate think he needs some haterade. Fuck boy, I don't play no expect. I keep my weapon deployed. They want the boy to be destroyed. Fucking on your thigh, I'm like, oh. I might air, she fuck on her, I'm a boys. I'm a rich street nigga, you dig that? Pull up on your ass,
Boy, I might get out one day.
like 3 bitches in the line fighting for tracks. Tracks, gang. Hopping out the coupe with the Mac, gang. Tell a pussy nigga back. Wait, tell a pussy nigga bike. Be right on this bitch like a bike. I am not on motherfucking dyke. Fuck that boy, I shoot up white. I will take your motherfucking life. Shut the fuck up, you ain't take nobody's life. And you know a nigga got a couple stripes. Pussy bitch, you
I don't know, man.
I
hope Melly get out. She got too much talent.
5 bands, I'll invest. Fuck, boy, put you in cardiac arrest. Yo, bro, you can't even say yes. Yo, bro, you can't even say no. You may be.
Let me go back to some of that old Melly shit. Just cause I'm on Melly right now. I'm on his shit. Risk Taker. This came out a year ago?
If Drew didn't film it, then it ain't filmed right.
Risk Taker.
Yeah. Yeah, nigga, and I think y'all ain't on the track, but 100 bands for a kilo, nigga. Shout to say she love me, really wanna fall me. Say she thinking of me, and she wanna fall me.
Thanking out.
She say that I'm thugging.
That nigga around like a bitch.
I think that she bugging. I think that she bugging. Hey, little bitch, you bugging. She blow me up, they all be bugging. Switch up the flow, for goodness sakes. These niggas talking and they falling, I think I need rates. And all these bitches, they cut though, they gon' try to say rape. When she let me fuck every time in the pipe she could take.
That nigga around like a motherfucker.
I'm a millionaire, you just don't know it yet, we shoot it up civilians, yeah. My bitch so foreign, she black, but she got Brazilian hair. You nigga talk like you wanted, them choppers coming, yeah. Them chopper bumming, yeah. Crips in the cut, man, bound the fuck. Tell that young nigga you the fuck with me, yeah. If you getting money, put your hands up. And bitch, if you ain't run them bands up. Cause when I was a youngin', I knew I was gon' get money. Niggas talking like they own that shit, but couldn't keep it 100K. All you niggas talking like you want it, let me get it, hey. All these bitches fucking, I like, hold on, wait a minute. You know the Glock on the pistol, that bitch is standing, hey. Your life a movie, little bitch, the chopper gon' end it, hey. You fuck with us like banana,
Melly
you
doing
ain't
his
get thing.
thing. Banana is shout out to Melly, man. I hope we get out. I'll go back to a later time when they all work together. Matter of fact, I'll play
If Drew
this.
didn't film it, then it ain't filmed right.
When they all was together.
Alright.
Man, what happened? What happened to the game, man?
Oh, yeah.
They was all together.
Okay. Alright. We had to ride. I remember days we don't shine. Shine. Right. Remember them days? Bang. Bang. The dick in the grave. Niggas fake. Turn that to flame. Beat it up. Beat 'em.
Open your world to fresh possibilities with Pacific Foods.
I'm almost out of titties, man.
What's your secret?
I am your favorite rapper. I don't care who the fuck you like. I am your favorite singer. I don't care who it is. I am them. I watched every video they did, every mistake they made, every good thing they did, every sound they made. I know that shit. I know how to do it. So when you know what I'm saying? How the fuck can I not be your favorite? How the fuck can I not be your favorite rapper?
How you feel out here, living out here?
I like calm and peaceful. I ain't neighbor friendly, and I ain't seen that one of their ass yet. I fuck this shit. I'm in my own world.
It's small thinkers where I'm from.
Dude.
To be successful is just
job, a house in probably Vero somewhere, or a little somewhere, like an out of town house, and just like a little 9 to 5, you do everything like the same shit every day, Monday through Sunday.
Damn.
You do the same repeated shit every day out the week. Every day out the week now. You know what I'm saying? Nothing new. You might go do something new, but it's really regular. Like you might go to somewhere like Orlando and people in Gifford think that's like a big trip. You know?
Nah, man, not the G.
So, like to be like this, it's crazy. You know, just to be where I'm at, it's crazy because they'll never think I'll be here. We all will be here. You know what I'm saying? You got some haters just mad at the success, but now they see it, they just hate it, but they love it at the same time. So it's like both 50-50 in everybody.
They love us and hate us. Like they
Sight.
happy to see us. They happy to see us when they see us. You know what I'm talking about? We were talking about that jump back in the day. They like
swipe under.
They want to chill. Them niggas crazy. Rapper, that's what you want to be.
Damn, man, what happened, man? Oh, they feel like y'all so close, so cool. Everything good.
Everything got nothing to think about.
Everything changed when that money come, man.
Then when they fire you, you think about, I could have went to college. I could have did all. Yeah. You win this babe now. You ready to flip some patties. Even when you got fired, you still ready. Your arm still ready to flip some patties.
Nah, man.
Now you gotta go to Burger King and get Wendy's mad.
Make you not know who to trust, you know what I'm saying?
Nigga ain't had no fresh eggs or nothing.
Crazy.
Goddamn, dude.
It's
Real life
Florida
savage.
too, so like, Florida's a very envious state. You see, ain't too many rappers like made it.
Maybe.
I really want to baby, but you keep fucking playing with me. Welcome to this fucking MC. See you in your eyes, baby, do you like me?
That was that phone too, I ain't gonna lie.
I was 14 when I got pregnant with him, and I had him in my 9th grade year. He was born, and then we lived in these apartments called Briarwood with my mom for a little while.
Briarwood.
Then we moved in the low end of Gifford, which is like real poor, but that's what she could afford at the time. She was trying to raise me, and then I had a baby, and we were trying to raise that baby, and then I started working at Dunkin' Donuts. I was terrified. It's like I was really responsible for myself, and I was like responsible for a whole person and trying not to, you know, mess him up. Gifford, it can make you or break you. There's really nothing to do, so either you gotta put your head on straight and focus on your education and find something you love, or you're gonna end up in the streets. Those are your options. Everybody's always trying to make it out the hood, because it is the hood. So.
42, Orangewood, 38 Court, same lights still there. We around here be catching lizards and shit, having water balloon fights. We really just grew up around this bit like animals and ain't shit here, bro. Everybody got the same mindset, you know what I'm saying? Get a job, get pregnant early, have 3 kids, live off food.
Hey, that's true.
Ain't doing shit with their life. They accept it though, because they ain't never looked further to go. Ain't nobody make it out of here. They dream, they stopped them in high school. Me and all my niggas, we had the same dream going up. The city being so small and not that many people having like that much faith, I think God just seen it and was like, he gotta help me, you know what I'm saying? He gotta help me go up. And then get my day on right, you know what I'm saying? Every morning, I'm right here with a pink radio. That bitch right here. Every morning, I put the motherfucking radio on. And I got one CD, that bitch Chris Brown, his first album. Play that bitch. I'll be right by myself, doing all the band music shit, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's over with, my boy.
I seen his ass one
He
day.
cooked.
Met her right there.
Melly cooked.
She was just like, my mama just
Damn.
moved to Orangewood today. I was like, shit, my mama just moved yesterday. Fuck it. So we just went down here, came down here. We was just listening to music, like the Chris Brown song every day, nearly there. I'm talking about thugging it.
And I was sad because I was like had to go there by myself, and it was really like a little church school, like academy school, boot camp type school. Right. So then when I walk in the kindergarten room, I see him, then he just started smiling and dancing. So it just made me happy. Now I want to be here every day. Now I want to be here just because he here.
Oh, man.
I was in the 4th grade. You know what I'm saying? I remember this shit like it was yesterday. My
Melly
uncle
ever
Rodney
get
had an
out
uncle
this
named
bitch?
Rodney. He used to do crack. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where the hell he at now, but I used to have to go over there after school. He had a little couch with a whole bunch of toys and shit under it, and like I seen a toy gun. I was just playing with that.
That's where it all started on.
I'll never forget the movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You know what I'm talking about? Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Yeah, man.
They was in that house, that little warehouse, and everything was fucked up. And he was...
Everything changed.
Like 37 million, a whole lot. And it's like, even with like 17 million, 13 million, all of that, you feel me? Meeting all these big artists.
I might have to get on another topic, man. Say he ain't coming home, man. Say he ain't getting out this bitch.
On their ass, like, it's over with now.
I might have to say that for tomorrow, man.
Oh, shit, man. That's up for me.
Yo, I'm out, man. I'm gonna have to say this shit for tomorrow. Peace.